Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Blue Thunder Pod, AEW Dynasty Edition. I'm your host, Billy Sullivan. With me, as always, my mom's favorite podcast host. He's so great, he broke Meltzer's star rating scale.
That's right.
Dave Olinovich. So today we're going to be talking about AEW. I've been calling it Dynasty.
Dynasty.
Since, like the Brits do, you know, they say the word Dynasty,
Yeah.
because I think it's a terrible name for their... It's not a bad name for pay-per-view.
They call cookies biscuits.
Their
though.
show, their like flagship is Dynamite.
Right.
You shouldn't name your pay-per-view Dynasty if your flagship show is called Dynamite.
Yeah.
It'd be like calling a WWE pay-per-view Crackdown or something. It's too close. So I've been saying Dynasty just because it's.
Especially if it was.
I want to say Dynamite every time if I start with
the SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view Crackdown. SmackDown presents Crackdown.
You know what? If Vince was still there, he'd probably like that. That's good shit. Wordplay.
That's okay.
AEW Dynasty was out of the Chaffetz Arena, St. Louis, Missouri. 6,610 in attendance. Very hot. 6,610.
Very hot crowd.
Well, I won't say what I thought of the show. Dave, what did you think of AEW Dynasty?
This was one of the best pay-per-views we are ever going to see in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
It is also now a contender. It has a contender for the best match I'm ever going to see in my entire life.
Yeah.
It's right there.
There was a ton of what seemed like hyperbole. Like if you just looked at the internet reactions to the match that you're talking about. But then, like, upon further review, most of the stuff that I would have thought of as hyperbole otherwise, like, is probably understated. Right. This is why I wanted you to say it first, because everything I say AEW related can come off as just, it's the greatest, because I love this particular style of entertainment. But, I agree, obviously. I also had another thing that kind of occurred to me a little bit earlier today when I was, like, setting stuff up for the show. I think this is... So I think it was 2 weeks, right, since Mania?
Correct. Yep.
Is this the best 2 weeks that wrestling fans have ever had to experience, at least American wrestling fans, people that we like, you know, that we can compare intelligently? I think it's the best 2 weeks of all time.
It's in the conversation, for sure.
It's like best WrestleMania. I think, what did we land on? Like definitely best of the 2-night Manias.
Best of the last
ever.
I said it's the best. It's my favorite one since 31.
Yeah.
So
like top 5 definitely all time, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's where I was.
Yes.
Like, so top 5 all time WrestleMania, followed by one of the greatest, like this style pay-per-views that's ever happened.
Right.
With maybe the best match in American history. Some people say in history of wrestling. I don't think it can be topped. Like Mania alone being as good as it was.
Yeah.
It's so rare for that to happen, for it to hit on all cylinders, like 2 nights, which it pretty much did.
Yeah.
You know, outside of the weather, it was like 80% great night 1 and then almost 100% great night 2.
Right.
And then we get this like 14 days later or whatever.
The thing about this is, okay, so Mania was everything Mania was supposed to be. They booked everything. There was not a lot of... I don't think... I mean, aside from the Money in the Bank cash-in, which isn't even like, you know, shock booking, like a Vince Russo style, not even a little bit. Everything that happened was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And, like, we fantasy booked it, like, to death because we're just conditioned to do that over the last 30 years, that if something's too straightforward...
It's more fun to talk about, too.
Sure, but, like, we also never get straightforward. And when things are supposed to just happen, we don't get that. WrestleMania gave you that. WrestleMania gave you the most straightforward, like, this is exactly what should have happened. Dynasty did exactly the same thing, too.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
what wrestling should be doing,
but wrestling
right?
doesn't do that.
No, I know. You know what? And I should stop putting that bubble on WWE, too.
Yeah.
The reason I have to, like, condition myself to, like, enjoy WWE is because I got so used to being bullied by one guy. It was one guy. It's not, I don't even think it's wrestling that does this. It's that we just got used to wrestling doing that because it was one bad person that was making all those decisions. And I think we're just past that now.
Right.
So, like, I think these stories are going to, end where they quote unquote should. Like, I mean, yeah, storytelling in wrestling it's an important thing, but like it's usually, with a few exceptions, pretty basic, like action movie style storytelling. And with like basic action movie type of stories, you want like the ending that you are like, even if it's like a downer ending, it's one that you see coming, kind of. And like, I like surprises in wrestling and everything, but as far as the stories go, we kind of always want them to wrap up like in a classic narrative kind of way.
Well,
right?
when they do
that now,
when everything runs completely and like they give things time and they're not hot shot booking things for the sake of doing it, when it tees up the next thing, we're so like full, like we have a belly full of this feud. So like, oh, there's no more room for that. And then like when this next thing shows up, you're like, I didn't know I was hungry for that, because I didn't even know that was like a thing, because you were so like embroiled in what was going on. And you don't have to give everything away at the pay-per-view. Like, that was another big complaint I saw. I was like, oh, Tony doesn't have anything booked for Dynamite. It's like, maybe just watch the show. Why don't you, like, if he's gonna, like, I want to watch Dynamite because I want to see what 7 guys are gonna do on Wednesday.
Exactly.
At least 7, probably the whole fucking roster that was on Dynasty. But the same thing. That's why the Raw after WrestleMania gets such high praise, because like, okay, they're starting brand new stuff.
Yeah, they
can bring in brand new characters. They can start brand new storylines. They often, I mean.
For the last 15 years, they didn't. But
it's been good like twice,
now.
but it gets such high praise.
There's been those big moments. Yeah, there's been like a couple of big debuts. There's the Dolph thing.
Yeah, and Lesnar.
But it was Vince, so it can never be consistently. He hated his fans.
Yeah.
So like,
and tag team wrestling.
And tag team wrestling. And like, I'm still I should go to therapy or something for this. Because like I need to be able to get past it, because I still watch WWE like kind of side eyed. Like, okay. But when's the other shoe going to drop? When are you going to like do the shitty thing that when are you going to start acting like I should be ashamed that I'm a wrestling fan again?
Yeah.
Because at this point, really the only big complaint I have about WWE at all is I just don't like the way that they pace their things. Yeah. And that's just something, it's just a choice. You know, it's not even like a real complaint.
No. And it might be a thing where they don't even know how. And I think.
They're recovering too from Vince.
Yes. No. Yes. Exactly what I was going to say is, they don't know where, like, it's like scorched earth where they're trying to like find like potted plants again, you know. Scorched earth, you put potted plants into scorched earth. No, I'm happy with that.
That was right.
So it's all going in the right direction. And like AEW had a little bit of a scorched earth situation last year when CM Punk like clearly did not agree. He did not read their mission statement when he joined the company, and like you could see like neither were wrong, but they were wrong together. Yeah, right? Because he's thriving in WWE and AEW's thriving.
Can be successful too.
Yes. That's it. Okay, we'll get to that too. But
in a perfect world, both will be successful.
Okay,
we get to have these two options.
I'll just say it now. I wish they would stop talking about each other.
I want AEW to not mention
ever again,
unless it's like if it's in a story, it makes sense to like refer to your history as a wrestler in kayfabe in the company that you were in. Yes. Like I'm always good for that. Happy with that. I wish WWE would do that more as reference to like wrestlers' pasts. They tend to pretend that even like NXT never existed or whatever. Like when they bring up their call ups. They're a little bit better with that, but I wish WWE would like do more of that. But like the taking shots, whatever, like AEW does it on air, which I hate, and WWE does it in the media, which I also hate. Yeah. I want them both to just don't do that.
Stop it.
It's unprofessional seeming, and like it makes everybody feel worse. So like
it's not. Who's it for at this point?
Them. It's my point. It's not
them,
for us because we're not enjoying it.
I don't know anyone that has fun with the. Like, because Triple H is taking shots at Ospreay, and then Ospreay's firing back at him, even at the press conference after this show.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
they get asked about it, but...
Fine. Then just like, okay, it happened, it's over. Can we just talk about the greatest thing you've ever seen in your entire life? Like, celebrate what you have in front of you.
I'm not giving him a pass either, because he was asked about it, but he did respond on his own, which... I understand
it's the most acceptable
desire
way.
to do that, but the show's better if you don't, so just don't.
Yes. Like, and then Tony Storm, like, oh, I don't care if I ever finish my story, I'm never going to invite you out. It's like, you had the best match you've probably ever had.
Yeah.
Tonight, shut up.
What did she say? I don't know if I heard that one.
So it was something like, she was reading. Tony Khan was sitting next to her at the post show, the scrum or whatever, and she said something like, "If I promise you, Tony, if I ever win, I will never ask you to come out to the ring to help celebrate my win," or something like that. She was like riffing on Cody.
Okay. The thing that I was bitching about for Raw or whatever, but they shouldn't be doing that because they're not wrestling fans. They're wrestlers.
Right.
Do your thing.
Also,
especially her. She's in kayfabe 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Stick to it.
Stick to it. That was a little bit of a tangent, but we did cover a lot of things that I don't think needed more time than what we just gave it to it right there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the goddamn show. Yes, the show is fucking awesome.
And just to let you guys know, I am going to, starting today, do star ratings for all these reviews, these pay-per-view reviews that we do. I know I didn't give stars for WrestleMania, but the ratings that I'm going to give right now, Dave, you said you don't want to do stars, right?
I just have never known what to give a match, and I would be like, if I watched, so for example, I think a very underrated match in wrestling history is when Cody and Goldust defeated the Shield for the tag team titles on Monday Night Raw. I'm like, that's a 5-star match, right?
Then you should give it 5 stars.
But I'm also really particular with okay, I gave that, I got to give that, and I'm way too in my own head to keep up with that.
I am the same way in another, a similar way, but same thing. Yeah. So what I did was I was going to get into it here. I don't want to do what Meltzer did with his star ratings. I like Dave Meltzer. I respect him immensely for wrestling journalism wouldn't exist without that dude. And he's the best wrestling historian I've ever heard talk in my life. Now he's become a victim of his own tastes because he always very much preferred the Japanese, the kind of all Japan style, and then what New Japan turned into later. That was always his preference. So those kinds of matches were always going to get the highest ratings. And then it pisses people off all the time because most American wrestling fans are not even familiar with that stuff. So they're like, well, how could this be this? And then Kurt Angle could never got a 5-star match or whatever, which, of course, Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania is maybe my second favorite WWE match ever. And I think he gave it 4.5 or something. That's ridiculous. Yeah. But what he became a bigger victim of is because he's been doing these star ratings for 1 million years and wrestling has evolved so much that he now to try to put a stamp on the matches that he's like, oh Jesus, this is something I've never seen before. I can't just give it 5 stars because I gave this other thing in the past 5 stars. Yeah. So he goes to 6 stars and then 7. And then when you do that enough, it makes none of it really make any sense.
Correct.
Because then you can go back and, okay, why is this a 4.5 and that's a 6.5?
Yeah.
Because that 4.5 was still super awesome. So to avoid that for myself, I'm putting a hard 5-star cap. Yeah. I'm never going to go above that. And for by the way, for the WrestleMania reviews since we didn't give specific reviews on that show, star reviews, it's all going to go up on our website, bluethunderpod.com. All our star reviews, the ones I do now, and if Dave decides to eventually, he wants to do them, I'll put his up. And then we have a few trusted minds that are going to be giving us star rating reviews for these pay-per-views as well. Yeah. And I'm going to do an aggregate of that because I don't want it to be oh, my word is the final word on this because I have very specific tastes, just like Meltzer. But I agree with you though, and you don't have to think about it that hard though because it can be super nebulous. The Rock Hogan at WrestleMania in Toronto, the one we went to,
5 stars,
was absolutely 5 stars. Yeah. It was not a very good match, but it was a 5-star match, because of all the reasons that you guys know from that match. It's I don't think you should have to feel bad about any reviews you give to anything because you're oh, compare it to whatever in the past, just however it made you feel or whatever.
Fine. I guess I'll go off of gut reaction. It's just something that I could foresee myself getting over analytical about.
Yeah. Oh, also, no, I understand that.
Also, too, speaking to the Meltzer thing, I genuinely feel bad for the guy. He was a journalist that came up with the gimmick. Yeah. It's no different than Roger Ebert or Siskel and Ebert. And everyone now takes what he says as the He it's like he's the Vatican now.
Like it's gospel.
He decrees what the value of something is.
It's a dude's opinion.
Yeah, he's a journalist. He's selling magazines.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like for some reason, everyone looks to him as like, oh, I didn't get this many stars, or I got what do I have to do to get a star rating that's a little bit higher? How? And you just said it. How does Kurt Angle not have a 5-star rating? Well, you shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
and like
it's because this one guy's opinion who has very specific tastes.
Right.
Like,
yeah. He's given 5-star matches to people that a lot of North American wrestling fans have never heard of before, but then maybe don't pay attention to his star rating and judge, matches based on how you want to judge them, which brings us to how we're doing it here.
Yeah,
we're just doing it on our own. Also, too, you spoke of the trusted minds. We may bring in more trusted minds. So if you are a listener, and it makes sense, we might be opening up more slots for our little
aggregated reviews.
Yeah, our little group. So keep listening, and that's something in the works. So
absolutely,
but we're just starting this right now. So
I am gonna one caveat on my 5-star max. I had to put one extra little thing.
Sure,
I'm not gonna go above 5 stars ever for these reviews. But I am gonna do essentially an extra special 5-star for the matches that I can see are going to go on my end of year top 20 list. And that's 5 gold stars. so far this year, I have which are essentially nominations for my own prestigious end of year best of list. Ospreay, to just give you guys an idea what my gold stars for the year so far are. Ospreay versus Oku at Rev Pro High Stakes. Ospreay versus the Gesta, AEW Revolution. I'm thinking you guys probably can guess why I'm doing this right now, considering my first 2 nominations. Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. at NJPW New Beginning. Sami Zayn versus Gunta at WrestleMania. And perhaps there's another 5 gold star match coming up here, Dave.
I just want to make sure I get the date right. It looks like it's going to be March 18th, Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax, last woman standing on Monday Night Raw. Did you want to talk about that before the pay-per-view? He is chewing his cheeks off from the inside with rage.
So I just going off about how it's the best 2 weeks in wrestling fans history.
What?
We'll talk about it on Raw. Nia Jax almost paralyzed somebody this week.
I haven't seen Raw yet, so we can't talk about it. But also, a couple things I didn't see on this show was any of the pre-show. Did you catch the pre-show?
Not I didn't watch it. Full disclosure, Dave actually came over. I had a couple of friends over to watch this pay-per-view the other day.
Stout out, shush.
And I was getting stuff ready, clean it up and stuff for your guys' impending arrival. So I didn't really watch the pre-show. I went back and gave it a cursory watch through post once we decided we were going to do this review show. Then I went back. I just took a look at it. The only thing I really cared about that was worth mentioning is I like that Trent has a new heel finisher, and it's a move that I love that nobody has used except for one guy that I can think of, at least. The Go-Go Plata, that Undertaker's the choke he used. It's an actual jiu-jitsu choke. It's the shin choke.
Yeah.
You pull your chin across, and it's an awesome looking move in jiu-jitsu. It looked terrible when Undertaker did it all the time, but it's a great move, and it's a great heel move.
Yeah.
Taker did it as a face because he's Taker.
Old school. Old school.
But it is a fantastic, non-high impact, non-crowd popping. Trent is doing it now, so I'm I'll take that. Cool. Otherwise, it was just that. It was the only one I really kind of watched was the 6-man.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see if Billy Gunn gave any of that back to Jay White, what he took from him a couple of weeks ago. And no, not really. He ate the pin, but he also kicked out after a bat shot and a 310 to Yuma. Yeah. And he's the Incredible Hulk.
He couldn't even give his kids the fucking nod.
No, not a rub for his own children.
Let's just go through these really quick in order. So the pre-show match 1 was Trent Beretta defeated Matt Sydal in 8 minutes and 13 seconds. And they're setting up Trent and Orange Cassidy. Yeah. Right? So that's basically
Which is cool. Yeah, Trent got a new finish.
And he goes by Big Evil now, which is nice.
And he talks super slow and sucks all of a sudden.
Well... and his hips look weird.
He's like, it says some weirdly underneath kind of homophobic stuff. I don't know where that came from.
My old Rottweiler, before he had hip surgery, looked a lot like the Undertaker before he had hip surgery. I like one of those way more than the other one. Turbo. The next pre-show match was Orange Cassidy and how do you say his first name?
Katsuyori.
Thank you. Shibata defeated Shane Taylor Promotions, represented by Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty in 12 minutes and 44 seconds. Like I said, I'm just glad Shane Taylor's on TV.
Yeah.
I'm fine with him eating a bunch of pins right now because I would rather him suck now and just hockey stick upward than get a bunch of wins and then get jobbed out. I mean,
in our little bubble here, it's sometimes it's like it's not a bad barometer for like whether something is doing well or not. 3-4 weeks ago, I was like going on and on about how much I love Shane Taylor. And then like 2 weeks ago, you started going on and on about how much you love Shane Taylor. So like putting him on TV is successful. Like has been successful so far. They do need to start letting him get some wins because now we're at the point where like I don't think it can be just you and me. People that are watching are probably like, oh, this guy's pretty interesting.
There.
Like
but also too, they gave him Anthony Ogogo and like Lee Moriarty can go.
Ogogo has not done shit, I don't think, since Cody. Like that was the last thing.
No, and he just looks cool. I don't even know if he's a good worker, but he just looks cool. But like, give him
good talker.
Good.
He's been on commentary a couple times.
Give them like
it might just be that he's British and that I'm tricked by that because I'm American, and in the accent immediately I'm like, oh, he's good. He's smart.
Did you ever notice all intelligent people in movies are British? They have the British accent?
Because it's a cheat code for you don't have to write a good script.
No.
You don't have to like actually do the work of writing an intelligent person. You can just cast a like British person to say your dumb words and sound smarter. Of course, not everybody that's British sounds like a Rhodes Scholar, bruv.
Maybe if they did that voice in Harry Potter, that would have been 3 movies instead of 9.
Hagrid.
It's true.
You're a wizard, Harry.
bruv.
You're a wizard, bruv.
I'm just imagining Will Ospreay in his gear coming out of that little mud hut.
In the mud hut in his like Adidas tracksuits, like
and then he just gives Harry Potter the hidden blade. Man, that would have been way better. No, those movies are pretty good. Anyway, but yeah, moral of the story is give Shane Taylor promotion something to do. Give him the fucking Dark Order. Give him something to work with for 6 weeks, and then move him to the next thing. Like just build their cachet.
And not on Rampage in Saudi Arabia.
No,
where the King of the Ring is going to be now, evidently.
That gels. They have a king over there still.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Raw when we talk about Raw. Because the next pre-show match, as you alluded to, was the Bullet Club Gold. Jay White, Austin Gunn, and Colton Gunn, who are the 6-man Ring of Honor champions. I don't know if I said that correctly. They defeated the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn to unify the 6-man tag team championships. They did not say to what degree those are going to be unified, but since they already made a toy out of the AEW ones, I got to assume those are the ones sticking around.
They're the better looking belts too. Like hopefully unify means dissolve, and hopefully they'll continue this going in this direction. I don't think they're as long as he owns the company. I don't think that they're going to get rid of the championship, like the world titles, the men's and women's world titles. They need to get rid of every other belt that's in Ring of Honor, or just never acknowledge or especially defend them on AEW television, because when you do that, the thing that happened this week with us, the thing we were talking about, the IWGP title, confusion that happens because like it's people that are even like semi-casual about like wrestling or indies or overseas stuff, to them all those belts on TV just looks like this is a bunch of goddamn belts. I don't know what's what. And then I get like frustrated, or people like me get frustrated because they're like, oh, well, no, this one means something.
Yeah.
But it's impossible to get that across to anybody who's like just looking at the product and seeing that there's 50 belts.
So, well, you highlighted it very. I went back and listened, and my own medicine was rather bitter to hear back when I listened to it back, because what you were saying made perfect sense. And I think a couple things threw me off ultimately. So, one, that belt that Jon Moxley now holds does not look like a world title.
No, it's a terrible belt.
It really bothers me.
It looks like that Divas title. I hate it so much.
No, and it doesn't look prestigious, and it doesn't look like, wow, look how cool of a presentation. This is a champion.
I can't believe they didn't pivot back to the old IWGP
it's so nice. And that's a promotion I never watched, and I'm like, that belt is. I remember seeing it on like Omega, like 10 years ago.
The AEW title is just a ripoff of the IWGP with good reason.
Yes. So Moxley showing up with that the night after he won it, makes sense, right? And if he's not going to be defending it, cool. What I think tripped me up is CMLL was constantly bringing in titles that I never saw.
Yeah.
And then I never saw defended, and then I never knew why the guy who held it had it to, you know what I mean? Like, I just didn't know enough where, like, you knew Moxley coming in. So that bothered me. And then I forgot that Taven and Bennett were Ring of Honor tag team champions until I saw them holding the belts, like, on this pay-per-view.
And those belts are absolutely worthless now because they've been jobbed out
but I'm like, oh, these guys have fucking belts too. Yeah. And I remember a couple weeks ago, Swerve beat both of them pretty much single-handedly.
Without a problem.
So I think you were 100% right that having another company's world title, if it's carried by the right guy, but then don't have all these other meaningless pieces of shit.
You were right as well. Yeah. Because yeah.
You want to kiss?
I think it's cool to have. That's Dave. I've been waiting this whole time. It's the whole point of this podcast was to get to that moment. In your eyes, like the heat. Let's duet. Your eyes. No, but your perspective. It's like I hate saying this phrase because people use it too much, but it's valid as well.
Yeah.
Because if you're not like a nerd like me and like following all this stuff, you don't know the like Shota Umino connection or whatever. Like, not yet, at least. I mean, that's the point of doing the cross promotion. Hopefully you can grab some people, but you devalue that when you essentially because of Ring of Honor, because they do defend all those garbage belts that nobody cares about, and everybody's got a belt on their shoulder. Like, I understand why somebody coming into that would be like, oh, Jesus, another goddamn belt. So even if I was like technically right, whatever, the best kind of right, technically right, like to the grander audience, it's very important that they scale back these belts.
Right.
So to this match, it was one of the most important matches on this card just because it killed the belts.
Cut the fat, man. It's cut the fat.
I wouldn't mind seeing Shane Taylor Promotions carrying those if they're going to keep
that's not bad.
Trios.
Like, okay, if you're going to job, if you need another feud right after this, let Shane Taylor Promotions job out the Bullet Club. Yeah.
Level wise too is instead of making it a trios and trying to keep it on par with the tag division because the tag division could kick so much ass.
Yeah.
Make the trios essentially a secondary title, like an intercontinental, international, whatever level title for your tag guys. Have them do a trio, but have that kind of considered like a mid card kind of thing, and it would be a nice way to like get Shane Taylor Promotions a little bit of a rub and like let them then feud with some other mid card kind of tag
100%.
Acts that are working as trios, like that kind of thing.
I couldn't agree more. Look at that.
It's gonna be a boring podcast, eh?
Why we're agreeing on everything. Don't worry, the Young Bucks are on there. I'll find something to bitch about. What we are not going to find anything to bitch about though is when the show started with, is this the best opening match in a pay-per-view? I thought of two that like Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero at WrestleMania 21, I believe, and then Brett and Owen. Those are the only two I
those
could
are the two
think
big
of.
ones, and
this even with the match finish totally predictable, and this being a relatively new guy to an American audience. And like, including me, and I'm the most American of American audiences, so I'm my own barometer here. This was fucking awesome,
insane.
It was awesome.
I have 2 5-star matches on this show, Dave. Too, and this is. I don't think that would. I can't even think of another show that could have even happened.
Yeah.
Like in my life, this is one of them. This is one of my 2 5-star matches.
And here's the thing. This, and I'll get to it when we get. We should probably start talking about these matches.
So the show kicked off with Pac versus.
I was just going down the list.
Kazuchika Okada, the motherfucking Rainmaker, baby. What an incredible way to start the show. Yeah. It's for the Continental Championship. I know it was the Continental Crown when it was 3 of them together or whatever. They should just call this the Continental Crown if they're going to keep I honestly I like it because of the tournaments and everything.
Right.
But so I think you kind of have to keep it, but call it the Continental Crown. It's a cooler sounding name. But it's for that title.
Did you hear? Speaking of that's going to be an annual thing now.
Yeah,
the tournament. But what does the winner get?
I think the title is vacated. You can carry it throughout the year, and then you enter the tournament, and they're doing the G1, which this company is really thinly. I always make the comps to WCW and ECW, but really it's thinly veiled New Japan. That's what he's doing.
New Japan adjacent for sure.
And the G1 is one of my favorite things every year, and because. In large part because of one of the men that are in this match right here. Kazuchika Okada is so goddamn good. I don't know what I was thinking when I was reticent about him coming to AEW. Right. It's I forgot, or I didn't think that charisma translates or something.
Yeah.
He's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah. He's responsible for the Young Bucks having to change their entire entrance because when he comes out, his big pose is he stretches his arms out and money flies everywhere, which is and the fans go very nuts for it. And
he used that to his advantage.
Yes, and the only reason I'm talking about it to this degree is because he gave everybody what they wanted, and this is how a heel works.
100%.
This is how a likable heel works.
Yeah,
this is like a tweener. Everyone's cheering him.
I would say it's a full heel, but it's the heel that you can see. But he's a cool heel that people are going to eventually.
Yes, that's a better way to put it. And he doesn't give.
He's not Christian. He's not
But he doesn't give the crowd what they want. Right, so he we'll get to the spot in a little bit, but a couple of notes. This is the first time these two have ever competed one-on-one.
Yeah, which is nuts.
And they had this kind of match.
Both incredible matches. First time they'd ever one of the matches. First time they've ever been in the ring together.
Yeah.
But first time, these two have ever competed. They had such chemistry.
Yeah.
I was a little worried about this coming in too because Okada had all we've seen from Okada, really, even in New Japan, it's been squashes, multi-mans, or he gets 40 minutes in the main event. So, I've only ever seen him work a 40-minute match.
Right.
I didn't even know if he could work a 20-minute main event style American match.
And that's what it was. And I made that note. I'm like, this wasn't an AEW match. I don't think it was even a WWE match. This felt very takeover-ish.
Very much. Absolutely. Good call, vibes-wise.
There was rest holds and just the pacing did not. It wasn't 100 miles an hour like a Bucks match.
It was an Okada match, really. It was an Okada match. That's what he works.
Is that
That's
how he works?
Yeah. He's a little bit more methodical than
But everything felt big when they did it. They gave themselves enough realistic time where if there was a rest hold, it felt purposeful, not just they were just trying to buy time. Match wasn't that long. It was just a shade. It was 21 minutes 55 seconds. Yeah. So it wasn't a 40-minute holy shit if we cut out the rest holds kind of thing.
But it was definitely a main event style match. Essentially, is what
yes.
And it would have been a fantastic main event for basically any other show.
Yes, 1,000%.
Pac working full babyface for the first time.
It was cool.
Ever, I think, in AEW. Cool. I kind of think it might be his final form. The crowd went apeshit for him afterwards.
Him. You don't want to not like him.
Yeah. So I think he may just we may see if of course he probably is going to get hurt again because he works that insane style that he works. But if he stays healthy, this could be a big jumping off point for that dude.
Yeah, and especially since his running mates aren't always the most reliable of guys to work in the side of the United States or healthily.
I just assume that Phoenix is hurt at all times.
Yeah.
When I see him, it's oh, nice. He's back for a week.
Yeah. It's nice to have him while we have him.
Yeah.
But, we can't have nice things with Rey Fenix. Couple of cool spots I had. They're packed in an avalanche brainbuster.
Yeah.
That was just kind of a transition move.
Yes.
And it wasn't just a superplex. It was and they Excalibur even called it. He's it's a brainbuster.
Yeah, and then Taz was I thought he was doing a regular superplex, but you're right. He dropped on his head.
Jim Ross had a funny line because Okada has a beautiful dropkick.
Jim Ross was really good.
Yes.
In this match. I didn't notice it when we were first watching because we were bullshitting and stuff.
Yeah.
But on second watch, I'm this is the best he's done. And maybe just that's the way you do it. You do give him a couple matches spread apart on the card or whatever. He sounded like it was 15 years ago or something.
Right. Yeah. The line I love that I wrote down is when Okada threw a dropkick. Jim Ross goes, A+ 5 stars, whatever the hell you want to say.
Whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it was.
I loved it.
He was making it wasn't just, when JR is bad, when he like starts to get tired, because he's an older gentleman at this point.
Sure.
You're just hoping that he doesn't say some nonsense or get crabby or whatever. He was like making insightful points about like what Okada can do from the time that he was, because JR for a while was calling NJPW stuff, like by remote or whatever. And he was like doing callbacks to that. I can't remember the last time JR was doing that kind of like adding that much to a broadcast.
Well, he's feeling better, or at least he sounds like he's feeling better, which is two good things to celebrate here. Because he's the GOAT when when he's on, right? So a couple other big spots. Like there was a very scary moment here, and this is a couple of times it's happened in this pay-per-view later with Bryan Danielson, but Pac has a way of looking like he is instantly in rigor mortis when he takes
spiked DDT.
It was like a draping DDT. Yeah. It was like the Randy Orton like draping DDT, but it was on the outside, and Pac's body. Pac's body.
Taz did the same thing on the broadcast twice. He was like, Pac.
Pac's body went super rigid, and it looked awesome, but like, because I know he was okay.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But
I don't know how he does the on his head thing. He does that all the time. It's like,
Geordies have hard
I don't
heads.
know what's
I don't even know.
Yeah, but then he sells like his neck is broken.
It looked amazing. Ask me to name another Geordie, by the way.
I just know the accents.
I have no idea.
Right after that spike DDT, though, Okada was like, I had to make a note of this because I was like, I've never seen somebody do it this well. He did a big evil villain laugh, and I'm like, this guy's like the best actor in the company, is he? Like, this is amazing. It felt like I was watching like the bad guy in like The Raid Redemption or something, like that level of evil villainous laugh. Like Seth Rollins is in pieces right now. Like it was absolutely amazing. I'm like, this guy can do everything.
Let's be crystal clear. Seth Rollins is the best actor in all of wrestling. Come on.
Best bad guy laugh too, or
he was the best part of my Monday night since he was not on the television. Keep him away.
But it was just, it really felt action movie bad guy. Like, you idiots, there's no chance.
Which is cool.
No
one does that. Pac, feats of strength, or feats of agility in this case. Springboard moonsault to the outside, lands on his feet. The guy's a goddamn freak.
Absolutely.
Athletically. Yeah. It's wild that he has not had more like top of the card runs, given his skill set, his look.
He would have, I think,
his
moveset. The problem is he works the Kenny Omega Will Ospreay style essentially. Yeah. I don't know if you'd call it a style because it's like four guys on earth that do it. But he does that, and he's a little bit smaller. And I think like no matter how like swole and jacked the dude gets, he's got a smaller frame. I think that might contribute to the number of injuries he has because Ospreay and Omega are like a little over 6 feet tall. Pac's not really close to that. And I think working that high impact style probably is what contributes to the fact that he's off
5'8".
He's out injured so much that it's like killed a ton of startups. Remember when AEW started, they had him beat Kenny Omega like right away. So I think their view on him was kind of similar to that too. But he's not been able to stay healthy.
He's very. The Death Triangle has some common denominators.
Yeah. The bird spot. You want to talk about so when Okada was doing he started
the bird,
and he's like, because he's a genius, he started a couple of like spots prior to the would you call it a spot? the taunt that he did, couple of spots prior to it. He started like kind of playing up to the crowd, like old Okada, good guy Okada, doing the like, come on guys, let's go, and people are cheering for him.
Yeah.
And then he got the advantage on Pac, was standing over him, did the thing where he bends over to like signal to the crowd he's about to do his arms to the sides,
which he did when he walked into the building. Yes. So it wasn't out of the realm of possibility.
And that's that's his big thing. There's no more best friends, so they can even do the camera thing if they want to with him. They
started to too.
Yeah. He tricked even the cameraman, and he came up. Just two middle fingers up to the, or it was a one.
It was one middle
finger up to the crowd, and with the second best shit-eating grin on this pay-per-view to everybody, just go F off, and it elicited like thunderous boos. This crowd was wild, by the way.
Also a loud fuck Okada chant.
Yes, fuck Okada.
Which was nice.
And after the match, Pac got a he's our bastard chant.
Yes.
Just impromptu, he's our bastard chant.
Yeah. This made Pac, I'm not done talking about the match.
Yeah, no. Yeah, please.
No, but like you're right. This was a everybody won at the end of this simply based on work rate and not simply. I guess they did everything correctly.
Character stuff was like perfect.
Character stuff was yeah. And like if somehow if
it wasn't for the character stuff, I wouldn't have given it 5 stars.
He wasn't fighting from underneath or anything. I don't know. This was fucking felt like two big time goddamn guys going after each other.
Yeah, Pac was fighting a little bit from underneath, and he got and the crowd was very much behind him doing that. And it was mostly just because Okada was like final boss, not to steal a Rock's thing, but final boss villain. Yeah. Like that's what he was doing. But like the Okada, the character stuff is the reason that I was like, I wasn't going to give this 5 stars. And then I watched it the second time, and I'm like, my criteria for 5-star match is there anything they could have done better? Yeah. There is nothing they could have done better in this match.
There's one. I have one minor gripe. One, and this is not just in this match. It's with whenever I see a lot of guys doing this because these little guys do these deadlift German suplexes now.
Oh yeah.
It looks a little awkward when the guy is fully cognizant and taller. Like it's like they're just like, hey, pick me up like a little baby kind of thing.
You could see it on their face or whatever.
Where they clearly could stop.
What's going on? Yeah,
they could just stand up or put their feet on the ground.
I liked Okada's sell. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I get that perspective. But dude, I personally was just like, holy shit, that 5'8" guy is deadlift Germaning that 6'3" guy.
And that's the correct thing to do, reaction wise, is to go, wow, look at this amazing feat of strength. It's a minor down. Down.
No, but like if we're talking a 5-star match for me, like any minor downs, if I saw any for my own personal taste, any minor downs, it's not a 5.
Right.
For me, I was like, I wouldn't have changed the goddamn thing.
They did again, and not only was the character work good,
by the way, Okada won.
We're getting there.
I'm sorry, I lose track always
because they did. We are talking about this for a long time, but so Okada has a really dope move that he does. Like I don't know how to describe it. It's like Sheamus's white noise, but he turns it into like a neck breaker.
Yeah,
like
the neck breaker thing. Yeah, he pulls the guy across like almost like he's holding him like a bandolier on his back.
Yeah,
but when he drops, he keeps like the dude. So the opponent's head is to his right side, so he keeps his right knee up and drops their like shoulder onto his
knee. Yeah. So he does it once, and I'm like, damn, that looks awesome. Oh, by the way, before we get to that, but when Pac did the deadlift German, Taz goes, deadlift German Jones.
Yes, he did. He absolutely did.
So back to the, I call it the white noise neck breaker. I don't know what else to call it. So Okada does it to Pac once. He does it neck breaker. Sully just described.
He could call it the kneecap.
No, someone does.
Yeah, it's Sheamus' shitty name for his other move.
So he goes for it again. And Pac turns it into a standing brutalizer, which was awesome. But that's just, Pac, okay, I saw this movie once. I'm not going to allow this to happen twice. And he turned it into his finisher. And then Okada raked the eyes right in front of the referee. I don't know about that.
That standing brutalizer was also a callback to how he beat Kenny Omega. Okada's like, life enemy. So I'm like, oh shit, it was I bought it. I was like, there's a chance that they're gonna put Pac over here. I can't believe this.
Yeah.
There wasn't, but like it made me buy it for a second because I love those callbacks and they love them too.
Right.
And they know that we know that they love them, so like it sold me on it when he
rewarding
did it.
Wrestling fans. I didn't catch that, but you did. See, that was for you. And then the finish was Pac tombstones Okada, which by the way, Okada tombstone Pac earlier in the match. Yep. And they both, at first you're just like, oh my God, please be careful, but they're the safest tombstones ever. They roll forward kind of.
Okada's super safe.
Yeah. So Pac tombstones Okada. Pac climbs the ropes to do the black arrow. And then Okada grabs the ref, kind of like as a distraction. Yeah. Pac hops down and kind of stomps Okada a little bit more. Once he feels he is adequately stomped, he goes back up for the black arrow. Gets in the air, and as he lands, Okada gets his knees up, picks him up, Rainmaker.
Perfect timing on the knees, too. That's a tough one.
Absolutely. And then after the match, you had mentioned massive applause for Pac, and then we got he's a bastard. Clap,
he's our bastard.
Oh, was it our?
I thought it was he's a bastard the first time, too.
He's our bastard.
But yeah.
Clap. And then Pac looks dejected, but like they can do whatever they want with this guy right now.
Absolutely.
He's over like Rover.
I don't know. I don't know if I was booking a show, if I'd be comfortable putting him into like a big important program.
You don't want him to
because
lose
he gets
again.
hurt nonstop.
Oh,
but
that
like,
too. Yeah.
Like I wouldn't. I'd be afraid to put him into a title picture without some kind of a backup plan in place, because he's super awesome. He's super over. I'm just always worried that he's going to get hurt again. But like, yeah, off the back of this match, you could do whatever you want with him as far as the story goes and overness goes. And Okada like came out to a babyface reaction and worked his way into being a like total heel by the end of the match too.
That's why you don't give the people what they want.
Yeah.
I watched Edge do an interview where he was talking about when they were making Judgment Day. And he said, if I'm going to do this, I want to take away everything everybody likes about me. He shaved his head. He changed his song. He changed his moveset.
Yeah.
And like you just, like that's one thing Jericho never did when he became a bad guy. Like he kept the song. Now he got rid of the song. Now it's one less thing for people to like. But I mean, Okada did. He changed.
Did it over the course of a match.
In the course of a match, and he didn't change any of his presentation. He came out and still had the big babyface like entrance.
Yeah.
And like during his acting in the match, he got the crowd against him.
Yeah.
It's fucking masterclass.
He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable.
I'm like,
5-star.
Anything after this was going to suffer, but this didn't suffer too badly next.
Yeah. House of Black versus with nice gear, as Dave pointed out during the show.
I like that they look like they talk to each other.
Yeah.
It's like I always give Claudio shit because like he wears like green pants and like everybody else is in like blood red and black. It's like, come on, guys.
Absolutely.
Text each other.
Against Adam Copeland is the best form of Edge of all time.
I think you're right.
Eddie Edward Kingston and my guy, the Suffolk County Chicken, Mark Briscoe. I'm Suffolk County Chicken and Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, Mark Briscoe, and a 6-man. The House of Black are the best, most cohesive trio since the Shield working together, I think.
Yep. And they all are individually as good as they are as a whole.
But they like do the thing where it's like they're reading each other's mind that the Shield used to do, but they just like swarm on people.
Yeah.
I remember when the Shield first came around, it was like, who are these guys? Because back then I wasn't even really paying that much attention to like the indies or the developmental guys. They were Florida guys. I didn't know, who John Moxley was or Dean Ambrose or whatever.
The turtlenecks didn't help.
But then, the first night it was all rough. But that match that they had, I think it was their first big pay-per-view match against Daniel Bryan, Danielson, Kane, and
was it Ryback?
It was Ryback. That match, I was like, oh, Jesus, these guys are like on a different wavelength. Like, because at that time, those three baby faces were like at the top of the card. So it would have been tough to like to bring in new guys and make it believable that they were like doing.
This is how I equate it. Like, you remember Streets of Rage or Final Fight?
Yeah.
Everyone.
Hagar. Oh!
Yeah. But then you had the guy that did like the Fire Punch that was clearly a Ryu ripoff. And then you had, but like every character, like in an old beat 'em up game, had different
their
strengths.
Specialty. Yeah, speed or like the big pounder guy.
Yeah, everybody in the Shield had a completely different character and moveset. Everybody in House of Black, they don't have a completely different moveset because Buddy Matthews and Malachi are wildly similar.
Well, I would say Malachi does a straight Muay Thai. He's doing Muay Thai, and Buddy's doing Kenny Omega.
Yes,
like he's doing Kenny
that's
Omega
more fair to say.
style.
And then Brody is like the Hagar character,
my favorite big in the whole company.
So oh my god. So I think that's why they're so successful, because there's no redundancy in there. And when they do stereo moves together, because they do that, they'll all do one thing at the same time, and it looks so goddamn cool, because under no other circumstances would these guys be doing that, except they all clearly talk to each other, which is evidenced by the fact that they wear some fucking gear that looks like
exactly.
Yeah, and they, by the way, they texted Julie as well, because she matched them, and she wasn't even in this match. She came out later, but just they should be the template of, if you want to be a cohesive team, this is who you should study.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. Sorry.
And they studied the Shield, I think.
So
I will say something I said a night of too. I can't, because they did a little pre-match, pre-taped bit where Malachi was talking, and once I realized that he has Mordecai from Cabin in the Woods energy, I cannot non-see that. So every time he talks, I'm like, that pops into my head and makes me giggle. But still, I did on that same pre-tape though. I did like Eddie Kingston doing the you could do your spooky stuff, but we're just gonna whip your ass like that. We get to dog.
Since we're gonna rehash things we said, I said while we were watching it, Malachi Black looks like he is a high roller in Vegas that has not put his suit on yet because he has silky boxer shorts on,
walking around his hotel room like whiskey and cigar and his that popped just the hell out of me then too.
Just a club sandwich.
Loved it.
One consistent thing we didn't touch on in the first match, but the video packages, they're putting in the work.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
The video packages. This video package set it up so nicely that I didn't know what the focus was going in because it started out as Mark Briscoe's the one that's got the real problem with the House of Black, but then like they kind of pepper in does Edge have a problem, but then they bookend it with Mark Briscoe again. You're like, oh, Mark Briscoe's going to be the guy. And like, that is not
No, by the end of the match, I was like, oh, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
That's awesome that I didn't see coming.
No, and they didn't telegraph it. Like if you listen to other wrestling podcasts with guys that give star ratings for things, they're like, oh, no, we totally knew that the next feud was going to be Edge and Malachi Black. I'm like, the fuck we did.
No, nobody knew that. Nobody thought Malachi was getting a singles feud. Like,
no, especially since everybody's talking about like how him and Buddy are leaving to go back to WWE.
He's never had a singles feud, by the way. Like, so nobody thought it was happening.
I bring this up too much, but when I went to Dynamite,
at least since House of Light, I should say. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gifted with the main event of the Dynamite that I went to was Malachi Black against Brock Anderson. That was a big show. What happened that show?
Punk.
It was Punk's.
Oh, that was the Punk debut.
Yeah. It was the first Dynamite after Punk debut.
I remember that because I was like something awesome on a big important Dynamite. I remember that they main evented Malachi Brock Anderson.
Yeah, I was was there.
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
But like that. That's the last time Malachi had. But like since House of Black has been around,
it's horseshit.
He hasn't had singles.
Had a title reign of some kind by
now. But
a singles title, I should say.
At least according to like I don't think there's ever been any actual news reported on it. But everybody just assumes in the discourse that it's because he's like, oh, I want to travel only on Saturdays or whatever because my wife is in the other company.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well we can do that, but we can only do you trio stuff then because we don't want to make the investment.
Give him a title and make Collision special. God forbid we pump a show up.
They had the trios titles for a pretty good
they did a good job.
That was the Collision titles. Honestly,
they should have counter offered with a different title. That's a shitty deal.
I personally would be like, you got to work 2 days, Malachi. You
40,
want to feud with Edge? You have to work 2 days.
Paying you $40 million to work 1 day.
Hopefully, that is what we see. I want to see Copeland and Edge on Dynamite too, telling the story.
Copeland versus Edge?
Copeland and
Edge versus...
That would be fucking super. That'd be better than Edge versus Christian.
Yeah. Rated R Superstar versus Rated R Superstar.
Alternate reality. I would cheer for Copeland to beat Edge's fucking ass, to be honest.
Yeah. No. Prevent him from sleeping with Lita and changing the course of the Hardy future forever. Jim Ross is out. Tony Schiavone is in.
Yeah. Yep. Good call.
Yep. That's it. Kingston comes out. He's the New Japan Strong Openweight Champion. I don't know what the fuck that means. I just know he has it. I don't know. Cool.
Yeah.
I know Eddie Kingston used to have 3 titles and he's down to 1.
It's the never open weight champion. I don't know why it's called that. I've never understood why it was called that, to be honest. I've seen it defended a billion times too.
Yep. I mean, cool.
Eddie did his owl face thing when he was walking out to the maybe giggle.
He does. Did you ever see him do these? So he does these chops to guys in the corner, and he does them real fast, and they look so
impactful.
He looks like, I think pacemakers hit harder than he does to a chest.
Little baby chops.
It is. Has anyone told him yet?
I mean, I have on this podcast.
But there's other guys in the company that he has been in the same match with that do that move better than he does.
He's in, yeah. Like Shibata did it like 3 days ago. It looked awesome.
It looked amazing. What a joke.
I will say, like Copeland, Kingston, and Briscoe had no right being this cohesive as a team.
Right.
They look like they've been working together forever. This is their first match ever together.
I think this was a tied raises all Kingston situation because Briscoe and Edge are fucking great.
Yeah, they're awesome.
They're fucking great.
I'm glad Briscoe's got a title.
Yeah.
I don't want him to have that title because I want him to be on AEW TV every week. I want to watch that man do whatever he's doing.
The only reason I'm fine with it is just because with his brother and they're tied to Ring of Honor.
Yeah, it's cool for him and everything.
Yeah,
but I selfishly want to see the man working.
1,000%. And this is not a situation where like you selfishly want to see Danielson because like he's already special and we need to keep him like legendary, like special. Like he only shows up like once, every in a blue moon. Whereas Mark Briscoe, like we don't see him enough. We weren't allowed to see him enough for a long time, and now we're like, why didn't we get to see this all the time?
Yeah.
So now, to your point, I think beating a dead horse here. We both agree on this one. I want to talk more negativity about Eddie Kingston. He has.
How does he not lose that belly? He's working he works indies and shit too. Sure. Like you're doing so much cardio. Yeah. You're not that old, Eddie. What are you doing? Is he drinking like a 12-pack after every show or something?
Which fast food restaurant app do you think he has on his phone where he's getting rewards points?
Wendy's. Wrestlers love Wendy's. Yeah. But for sure.
A lot of bread.
Wendy's, yeah.
A lot of breading on Wendy's. I never feel good after Wendy's.
Oh, no. But he's also getting gabagool sent over. I don't think he's Italian, but he's so in New York that he definitely is getting that kind of big ziti and shit.
Maybe you ever have a papaya dog?
I have, yeah.
Well, you can have 17 of them and not be full. So maybe that's what Eddie Kingston's eating. I didn't like when he was requesting more punishment at one point. He was sitting, just sitting in the ring and requesting to be kicked again.
It's his hard on for All Japan.
Cool.
He loves that fighting spirit.
But when you're
doesn't translate to American audiences.
But everyone else in the ring has some credibility.
Yeah.
Except he's the last guy I think should be requesting more punishment. When you got fucking Buddy Matthews who looks like an action figure from the 80s.
He's also a self-hating, can't get out of his own way kind of dude. That's his character.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm booking. I'm doing some booking for him there, but you could make that internal argument or whatever. But I know what you mean. He's the least imposing person in the match, and he's going asking for more punishment.
But at the same time, we spent the last 2-3 minutes talking about him, so he's doing something right. There was a cool spot I never saw before. Mark Briscoe sets up a chair on the ring apron next to the turnbuckle, and he runs Sabu style, steps off the chair and does a flipping senton over the ring
a somersault
post
senton
onto Brody King. And speaking of Brody King, Jesus, right after this, Brody King does a running Death Valley driver into the barricade on Mark Briscoe. That guy.
Did you notice the old school barricades too?
Yes.
That I was calling for when they did the
metal,
ring.
Well, they don't need them on that's cost saving. That's what they'll tell you. It's cost saving. We don't need to put LEDs all the way around the ring, and they're 100% right.
I like the clattery noise it makes.
But on that side, yes, not the foamy ones that Jeff Hardy can jump and walk around the corner. No, make them old as fuck for exactly the reason you're saying.
Did you see the fan was oh, Jesus Christ, and trying to push it off his legs?
Oh, God.
After the Spicoli, I decided I'm going to call it the Spicoli driver because why not?
Yeah.
I'm an ECW guy.
Yeah,
After the Spicoli driver onto the barricade that we're talking about. Yeah, a fan got smashed into his knees, which, whatever, fuck that guy. It looked cool on TV.
They told a really cool story throughout the match where Edge has Edge been misted yet and before this match?
I don't think so.
Okay, so Edge is just straight up afraid of Malachi Black. So they're staring at each other here and there. And then Edge at one point gets a hot tag, and Edge attacks Buddy. He attacks Brody King, and he just looks at Malachi. Yeah. And they don't have any physical contact in this match.
In this whole match.
At all.
They teased it a number of times. But.
Yeah, and they just kept looking at each other, which is cool, right?
Yeah.
And the end of the match saw a triple spear from Kingston, Briscoe, and Edge onto the House of Black guys. The ring clears, and then Malachi Black comes back in. Edge is going to go for a spear, an individual spear to end the match, and he gets a face full of black mist.
Yeah, like a really well timed.
Yes.
I didn't even catch it honestly the first time it happened. It was so like bang bang quick.
Yeah.
Until I saw the remnants on Edge's face, I was like, oh shit, that's what he did. And then on a replay, it was very clear. Yeah, well timed, well placed.
Yeah, he didn't. I don't know. He just. Yep, we're gonna say that. Because I don't have anything else to add there. And then what does he call it now? It's not the black mass. It's the.
They went. So I bitched about this, I think, on this podcast, but just in talking to people for the entire time that Malik has been in the company. What they called the black mass. He's got one of the coolest finishers in wrestling.
Yeah.
We're calling it like a spin kick for this entire time that he's been in the company. They finally on this pay per view. I think this is the first time they gave it a name, and it's the old name. He was Tommy End. Before he was, and it's the end.
I see.
Because he was Tommy End on the Indies. That's what he called that move back then.
Yeah.
So they just re-christened it the end. I'm like, yeah, that's a great name for that
works.
move.
I'm good with that.
Do that.
Yeah.
I'm happy that they're not just calling it the spin kick.
Right.
Because it's too awesome a move to have no name.
Absolutely. And that awesome move pinned Edge. So now presumably it's going to be Malachi Black versus Adam Copeland in a TNT title feud.
I hope so.
I couldn't be happier about that.
Yeah,
couldn't
very
be
excited.
happier about that. Also, too, if we're looking at the folklore of what this mist does, shit's about to get real squirrely for Adam Copeland because everyone that's been misted, for the most part,
Willow hasn't. She's been able to fight with her internal goodness has been able to fight off the forces of evil, but I think everybody else has had some kind of a corruption.
And Edge is not as good as Willow Nightingale. He's fucked.
You know what Edge is?
Canadian?
I think the best signing AEW's made from WWE.
He's the most selfless. By all means.
Punk is the best because they got the most eyes on them and everything, but he's
no, but for the health
most successful
for the health of the company.
Yeah.
He has been. I was really against him having this TNT title, by the me and
Me too.
I thought he
totally
was just
wrong.
Gonna squash everybody.
Yeah, no.
And he's just
Incredible.
doing really interesting shit ever since he's got it.
I was never that big of an Edge guy. Even back in the 90s, I liked the Brood when they first were around, but I thought they were kind of corny.
Yeah.
I thought Edge and Christian were funny when they were doing their 5-second pose thing. But I was not really for any of the rated R Superstar Lita stuff. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't my favorite thing. And I didn't really like gruff Edge. I thought he had a cooler when he came back after retiring at the Rumble. I thought his the way he looked was cool. His aesthetic was cool, like the gruff old guy. But then I thought that the character was boring as hell, and I didn't want to watch him at all. This Jack Reacher Edge is the best. It's the best Edge he's ever done. I everything he's been doing is interesting, and that's probably what he was talking about when he was saying the most fun, because he's doing different shit just constantly, and it makes it interesting to watch too. I went 3.5 for stars for this match. Excellent match.
5 stars.
I figured 2 stars is a good match, right? Everybody people go way too high in the star ratings. So 2 is a good match. This is an excellent match. 3.5. It's not 4 is essentially could be, you'd be happy with it as a pay-per-view main event. Yeah. If that happened. So not quite there, but it was great. Just excellent match.
Yeah. I think I'm either going to give a match 0 stars or 5 stars.
You do whatever is in your heart, Dave.
5-star match. 5-star match. 17 minutes, 46 seconds. Did not feel a second over a 5-minute sprint. It was fucking awesome.
No, it was great.
Up next, we had the TBS Championship. Willow Nightingale versus the incumbent Julia Hart.
Wildly over Willow Nightingale.
Yeah. And the wildly injured Julia Hart, which was a 6-minute and 1-second match.
I've seen a lot of people giving this for a couple reasons, I think, but giving this match kind of super low reviews or bad reviews.
Just look what it was around.
It was around that, and people are not used to AEW pay-per-views having a sprint short match.
Right.
I thought it was pretty refreshing. I think they did it because of the injury, as you alluded to. Yeah. But whatever, they worked their asses off in their little 6-minute match. Yeah. It felt good to have one of those happen for a change on a 10-match card on AEW TV or whatever.
Nice little palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Especially when the ending was such it was like a foregone conclusion. Like we knew what was going to happen. Kind of thing. And like you had to fantasy book it almost to be like, oh, is Chris Statlander going to like turn on Willow Nightingale?
And they did tease that too. Like,
but like it was so, and that goes back to what we were saying at the top of the show. It's like when things are just if it's the right story to tell, we're almost like conditioned to be like, all right, what kind of fuckery is going to be involved?
Are they going to screw this up?
Right. It's So one note I had again, nice video package. Julia Hart pretty much narrated the whole thing. She cuts promos like she's Lydia Dietz in Beetlejuice.
Yes, she does.
She sounds just like her. And this was House.
Do you watch Beetlejuice like a couple times a week?
Do I bring it up a lot?
Well, when I was doing, I forget who. I'm certain. I don't know what impersonation. It was on Turbo Time Machine.
Yeah.
My Lord Alfred Hayes, you said, sounded like old Winona Ryder. That's what I was thinking of.
No, that's
yeah. It's my fault.
That's Edward Scissorhands.
Edward Scissorhands. Yeah. It's a different Tim Burton. So Tim Burton, you're in the Burton-verse quite a bit.
What does she say? Where is she from? Westchesterton, Fieldville, Iowa. That's was that Mr. Deeds?
Oh yeah.
I almost had another one. Sorry. This was House Rules. House Rules are confusing because House Rules are allowed to be selected by the opponent.
Yeah, it's dumb. I liked what Willow did with it here. That it fits her characters super well.
Yeah, like really, she banned Sky Blue and Chris Statlander from ringside.
Willow's house rule is we're going to do this by the book.
Yeah.
Nobody at ringside, we're following the rules because she's like good guy, super good guy.
She's like 80s morning cartoon guy.
100%. I love it so much.
It's got Captain Planet.
I don't think there's anybody else like her in wrestling.
That we're cheering for? No.
No.
Because usually when they try to do a super white, like
this white meat baby face is like it doesn't exist anymore.
No, absolutely.
It's awesome.
It's nice. You're actually, now that you say it, it's nice. Also, there are no rope breaks for submission holds.
Yeah.
And there's a 20 count on the floor.
Yeah.
So
the no rope breaks. That's a Tony Khan. That's a Japan thing.
Whatever.
It's pure championship thing.
That's fine. Which helps in Julia Hart's case because she has a submission finisher, which, during the match, or maybe right when it starts, I can't remember exactly when it was, we see the biggest waste of money backstage watching the match on...
Take Dave. You're right. I was totally wrong. She's a heel. She knows it. They know it. They're writing her as a heel. They're doing all this shit because they want to take away all the stuff that you would like about her.
Yeah.
What sold me on it is she was watching. Did you see her the way she was watching TV?
Yeah, like WWE.
The thing that I make fun of all the time, and even on this podcast, that was on the nose enough for me to go, oh, that's what they're doing.
It's like
here.
120 degree angle. No one watches
it's
TV
ridiculous,
like
and nobody else in the company does it like that.
No.
And somebody, if that wasn't a choice, would have said, "No, that's not how we do it here." I still don't like it because it makes my viewing experience worse whenever her segments are on.
Yeah.
But at least now I understand what they're doing. If they're going to have her fight Willow, I thought that was not possible because I thought that she thinks she's a babyface. No, it is self-aware, which is a smidge better than what it was.
Yeah.
It needs to get the show on the road now. I don't want another single segment of CEO, but like
fucking thing ever.
I'll give it that grace now that you were right. I was wrong. She's heel.
I've never this is gonna sound crass, but I never liked her.
No, I know. I know that.
But her personality, I'm never yeah, I agree with what you're saying. She's just so fucking unlikable. She can't be a babyface.
She's a heel. That's the other thing that made me come around on this is I guess I didn't know this, but I guess Brian Alvarez has said a few times that when she was coming into the company, she was essentially telling Tony Khan, okay, but I need to be a heel. I'm a much better heel than I am a babyface. That's where I excel. Let me do that. They haven't been talking about it a ton now because I think they're trying not to give that away.
Right.
But that's what she's doing. She understands it.
So
too.
Who made her a face? Tony Khan?
She's not a face. She's never been a babyface.
Oh, I see.
But they understood that. Okay, we got this big name signing. When she comes in, people are going to go nuts for her regardless. What can we do to get them to turn on her?
Yeah.
Well, everybody's turned on her.
Let her be herself.
Let her do that. Let her do the worst. Let her cut a bunch of 2000 18 WWE pay-per-view or WWE promos.
Yeah.
Like she's doing those.
The literal worst.
She's
time
doing
in wrestling.
exactly. Make her watch TV like nobody watches TV.
Right.
Like
let her jump to the head of the line without proving that she's
100%. Why do you get a shot against Willow? That doesn't make any sense.
No. And she just calls it.
Yeah.
Right. So very unlikable. I haven't liked her since she's been in the company, and for the umpteenth time. If you open your own Guantanamo Bay, you could play her theme song to get people to admit to crimes against other
Now that I know
governments.
she's a heel, I'm back on board. CEO. I'm going to make that our new opener for our podcast.
No, it's good. You
CEO.
Tune in next week when I have no more hair because it's been ripped out and I'm mumbling CEO and drooling.
My one knock on her for this
lobotomy.
pay-per-view is her hair clashed very badly with her dress. She looked good. The dress is a good look, but the hair didn't. The colors straight up clash.
Yeah, well, just whatever.
It's okay. She's the CEO.
She's the
CEO.
I wish she would see herself out the door.
Oh.
Chris Statlander. Nope, she wasn't there yet. Willow Nightingale and Julia Hart beat the shit out
They
of
did.
each other.
And if Julia's hurt, man,
dude,
she
I don't know how she's hurt because she was doing everything.
Everything. I was trying to look like, is it a leg? Is it a neck? She's like taking big giant
Do you know what-
back bumps. I don't know what it is. I just know that they rumor was out there that she's hurt, and they like it has to be true because everybody was reporting that she's hurt, and they may have to change the match or cancel the match because of her injury. And then they did a thing that they have never done on an AEW pay-per-view ever, which is have a sprint that only goes 6 minutes long. Yeah. So it has to be that she's hurt. But from watching them work, no fucking idea, man. She like bumps. She's doing every move. She's like doing power stuff. She's doing like big like rough bumps.
Yeah.
I don't know what it could be, but it was impressive.
Where I especially noticed it was the finish where she did a moonsault and it was blocked with Willow put both of her feet up.
Yeah.
And they both buried directly into Julia Hart's face. It looked stiff as fuck. But then she ate a lariat and then a doctor bomb.
Yeah, the babe with the power bomb, as Willow likes to call it. She like it's pretty stiff power bomb always, and she didn't hold back at all here.
But just that moonsault block.
Yeah. She also landed
Jesus
like a boot to Willow's head to kick her off the apron, and it was a crazy bump for Willow as well. But like throwing that kick, I'm like, what? It can't be a leg because it was really impressive looking.
Yeah.
It was a sprint. It was like a little bit more TV matchish than pay-per-view, like a good TV match.
I think the reason it seems so jarring maybe as a sprint is because it's been a pretty well-built program.
Yeah.
And pretty well-built programs don't usually have sprints to pay off.
Ideally, like they would have given them. Ideally, they would have just taken half of Chris Jericho's time and given it to them. Yeah. But I don't think it was. I think it really was. Otherwise, I don't think the reporting would have been there. Like they had to shorten it for some reason, like some kind of injury concern. But like, worked her ass off to
mission accomplished.
Not show anything.
No mission. And if you want to make your champion look strong on the way out, this is the way to do it. Did you hear what Stokely yelled right when she won?
Shit. No, I don't think
Chuck
so.
E. Cheese,
oh,
here we come.
I love Stokely.
Chuck E. Cheese, here we
even though he's
come.
going to turn stat against Willow pretty soon. Yeah. They teased that. So, like, after the match, they kind of did the Adam Cole, MJF, like, standing behind Willow. Are they about to attack her kind of thing? And then they did the
camera did a nice job, too, because you didn't see Statlander get in the ring.
No.
She was just there.
Stats, I don't know if you call it gear because she wasn't wrestling, but like her attire was a little darker too. Mm-hmm. It had a little more understated than usual.
Yeah.
I like that. I kind of think that Statlander's gonna. I thought that I was certain that the match was going to be Statlander, but now that I've been convinced that you were right and Mercedes is in fact a heel, I think Statlander's going to be aligning with Mercedes against Willow.
I'm fine with that.
With Stokely probably too, which that's great. Pretty great heel faction. Like
if she's the CEO, she needs a staff. You gotta manage some kind of company.
And both Stat and the CEO need a mouthpiece.
Yeah,
Stokely is one of the best ones in the company.
Yeah,
outside of maybe Callis.
Oh man, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
And
we
don't have to hear the CEO doing bad promos anymore.
If I know I'm going to get Stokely talking,
Yeah.
I can tolerate that dog shit fucking.
2 3/4 for me, by the way.
5 stars. So speaking of Mercedes, her music hits after they're celebrating in the ring and she comes out. I wrote she looks like Jessica Rabbit if she was an escort.
Highlight of the show.
She looked. I mean, call her for what it is. She's a smoke show.
She did look. Yeah,
My lord,
quite good.
So they do. This is a production thing. They have the camera between Mercedes and Willow, clearly to use in future, post production, and then they show the Double or Nothing logo on the stage, not on the big screen.
Yeah.
It's on like the smallest screen they have, and then in the foreground, and we can only see this at home. They show the image graphic where it's Mercedes and Willow. Like how you would promote a match on the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
Why don't you put it on the big screen so everybody could see it?
That would make sense. I didn't even notice that, but yeah, you're right.
It would have felt like such a cool big thing. Like, hey, we're declaring this right now.
Yeah.
And that would have.
Because I didn't even realize that they were doing that really in the moment. Like, I knew that they said it, but I was like, I still think they're going to change this match until I watched the second time.
Minor down. That's all. Just because their production, I think, has been pretty flawless on the show so far. And then speaking of Double or Nothing, the next thing was they're promoting it for May 26th at the MGM Grand.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which
am I off? Let's see. Where am I that weekend?
You can always watch a replay of it, Dave.
I could always just go to Vegas. Am I off?
Oh, we can talk about actually going.
Oh no, dude. If I was off that Saturday, I'd be like, "Yo, we're going."
The Taker, dumbass. They seem to have let the cat out of the bag. Where WrestleMania is. He said Mania is probably going to be at in Vegas. Like he heard. Like I'm sure they're not super happy about him releasing that information on his goddamn podcast.
He's the gift that keeps on just giving.
He's so much better than Stone Cold.
Well, Stone Cold at least had the mind to not.
No, I was joking.
Oh.
I love Stone Cold.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying at WrestleMania, like Stone Cold would have been a much better option.
Yeah.
No, the dead man can go fuck himself.
I agree. International Championship was up next. Roderick Strong coming in as the champion against
Beverly's own
Cork and Kerry loyalist Kyle O'Reilly. They fought for a long time. It felt like a long time because it was a technical goddamn masterpiece.
Yeah, I love
17
this
minutes.
match.
17 minutes, 18 seconds. It was just technically awesome.
And they tried to kill each other.
Yes.
They were trying to kill each other. Kyle O'Reilly's my favorite counter wrestler on earth.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, he knows how to. He's athletic. He's a trained
he's athletic
fighter.
in a different way too.
He's a trained fighter.
That one of my notes was he's the most believable fighter in wrestling.
Yeah.
Probably. He makes everything look like he's in an MMA fight or something. Like,
right.
And his counters are all like they make make a ton of sense.
Yes.
They're not just like for a spot. It's like what you would do to counter that and get somebody into a knee bar or whatever. Right. It's just awesome. And then Roddy with those backbreakers is just like insane.
Backbreaker count. How many backbreakers do you think we're in this match?
I'm going to say 7.
If this was Price is Right rules, you would be playing a fabulous pricing game. It was 8.
I'm glad I came under.
You would be playing for a Maytag washer and dryer. 11 for Orange and Cassidy. Orange Cassidy when I started counting last time when he won the title, but yeah, only 8 this time.
At least Roddy does a variation of like every. I guess Orange Cassidy kind of does too, but Roddy does like an escalating. I did notice that he does like escalating different versions of his backbreaker until he does the you like the name of that
End of Heartache.
End of Heartache. Yeah. It's like he raises them higher and higher for each in different ways.
He did one on the top row, and I didn't want to count the one where he essentially just dropped him on the top turnbuckle.
Yeah.
But Excalibur did say backbreaker, so by the bylaws, that does count as backbreaker. Promo was good for this match. I was just praising how great the production was on the show, but if for a company that loves mentioning WWE so much, they sure do like to leave out big chunks of history. The promo package for this is like how long they've known each other and how they've traveled together, and there's a noticeable chunk of time missing because they don't want to talk about their NXT run for some reason.
Or
no,
the big-hearted Hunter just won't let him use that footage.
They don't have to use the footage. That's fine. Don't use the footage. Because during the match, Excalibur says, these two men, early in their careers, oftentimes found themselves as opponents in Ring of Honor, in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. But then before AEW began, they had a very formidable tag team, a very successful tag team. And then he went on, just fucking say they were in NXT. Why? Why can't you? You want to, you know what I mean? Just like pick a lane, like talk about the company or don't talk about it. Because here it would have helped to talk about the company.
Yeah, like I don't think it does any. I know it's an old trope. It's something that the promoters all believe that I think is bullshit. I don't think it helps anybody like to say their name on TV. Like I don't think it would help WWE for Excalibur to say in NXT. Like we all know that already. You're not really advertising.
But then
it's fine.
Don't say Ring of Honor. Don't say Pro Wrestling Guerrilla.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Say it.
Say all of them or say none of them.
It doesn't bother me at all that they don't really, but they can say it. Like go ahead and say it. They have a relationship. They own one company. They have a relationship. They have a relationship with every wrestling promotion on earth, except for one.
Right.
But also, so like I understand why they would talk.
Kevin Owens has the Pro Wrestling Guerrilla logo on his fucking gear. Like,
oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
But they also they've had a back and forth with that promotion, so like they're comfortable talking about them. I get it.
It just annoyed me. I'm like, you didn't need. Also, too, we know the backstory. We know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
so why do we need them to say NXT?
Why do they have to say? God damn it, you're right. Been backed into a corner, and I don't like how it is. Right as this match,
counselor,
have to call my mother. AEW has signed Carlos Cabrera to Spanish commentary.
Yeah. I heard he had a rough night. I have no idea if that's true. It's a random person on Twitter or something, but they said his first night was not as good as his best.
Stus, can you report back if Spanish-speaking Stus, can you report back if Carlos Cabrera had a rough night? But Taz did go, after they did their little intro, where they go, let's talk to Carlos Cabrera, and they do like where they speak Spanish. Taz goes, they sound 10 times better than us. We got to pick up our game, damn it. Our game, damn it.
My top note for this match, by the way, I did want to mention this, that this would have been the match of the night on like 99% of wrestling shows, and it was the fourth best match on this card.
Yeah. The ending dropped it down a couple pegs because it came out of nowhere.
Really anticlimactic. For the amount that they were kicking the shit out of each other, for like the effort they put in, it was pretty straightforward, just end a heartache pin. Kind of end.
Which, for the guy in this program that praises the importance of finishers, like, yeah, but there's also like the importance of signatures or like getting to the finisher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I find it believable that Kyle O'Reilly's this is only his second, maybe third match back after being off for 2 years. So like I don't think it hurts him to lose like in a definitive kind of out of nowhere way.
I agree with that.
But it is a little just for the flow, for the ups and downs, for like hitting it at its peak or whatever. Yeah. The ending was a little bit like, oh shit, that's the end, I guess.
Especially because we had seen 7 backbreakers, maybe 8. I don't know if I counted the last one.
But that accumulates, right? On the dude that's been out for a while.
Yeah. But like 8's not a sexy number. Make it 10. You know, the Bible doesn't have things in series.
I don't know if I could dock stars, Dave, for not using a round number of backbreakers. By the way, 4 stars for this match. 4 even.
Yeah, 5 stars. This was just such a. There's not even like a note to be taken because it was such a technically perfect wrestling.
They're essentially twin brothers. It's very clear. The chemistry that they have is insane, and they're also doing the thing where that wrestlers always do with their like close friends, which is it's okay for you to like lay this in. Let's beat the shit out of each other and make it look great, and you're more comfortable doing that. Laying it in as hard as you can if you're close with somebody, or if you're the 2 best wrestlers on earth, and even if you've never met really before, either that or if you're close friends with somebody. Those are the 2 times that you can just lay it in.
Becky Lynch and Nia Jax met before. I don't know what you're talking about.
They are stiff.
Especially if it hit me yet.
Nia's reckless, maybe, but stiff, sure, yeah. The most important thing to come out of this match, Dave, is that I was correct, and all you filthy marks fell for it when they told us that Adam Cole was actually more injured and he was going to be off the road because the stresses of the road are making him more injured. And SRS and Dave Meltzer are like, oh, I guess Adam Cole's out for a while. I'm
trying to You remember what prompted them to even say anything? Right? Oh, that's right. It was nothing. Like it was a story that came out of nowhere for no fucking reason.
Precisely why I was like, that's a work. Because nobody asked that question.
Yeah,
why would you come out of nowhere and be like, by the way, Adam Cole's going to be off TV because he's way more hurt than you think?
That's the equivalent logic of a teenager. Like if you're your parents and you come home and your teenager's like, I didn't have a party at the house. It's like, I didn't ask. How many people were here? Like, why are you, like, you're admitting to guilt right away, kind of thing.
I didn't have a party.
What are you talking about?
Do you think that, like, SRS and Meltzer and the like, they're fully getting worked when it's something like this? Or do you think that, like, one of their sources tells them that, and then they feel like, I'm going to be offending my source if I don't report it? Because to me, it was like, that's obviously, they're working you. Why wouldn't you recognize that? You're in the business.
To say they're journalists, man, and that's why wrestlers shit all over them. And like that's why Punk was just like he kind of shit on wrestling journalism
because they're getting used so hard these days.
It's a screenplay.
Both companies.
I don't get how you like. That's like being a journalist for like the Tarantino movies.
Yeah,
like, it's a script. Like
yes,
because the script got you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like. I don't know.
I mean, it works for me. I'm glad that I like that they're getting worked. It makes everything more interesting.
It also,
and then even tied into it like the story overall. But I kind of feel bad for the reporter guys because they look like assholes.
No.
Lately,
and it's fine that they look like assholes because for so many years they looked like these pompous, like
that's
we
true.
know better than you, and like the origin of the Smarks.
Yeah.
Was these guys. We didn't talk about all the things they did set up after this match, right?
That's what I mean. That's what I was. That's where you were going. I know better than everybody. Thing is.
So prior to the end of the match, Wardlow comes out and he attempts to get in the ring.
He does a little awkward,
and like he gets caught, and he just he gets caught and he walks out, and then he just stands there and he's a non-factor in the match. He doesn't cause any distractions.
Yeah, no, it's
like
just
it's like he just was drunk and he wandered out, and they're just like, just stand over there,
or like he was given a job to do and he didn't really pull it off,
which is exactly what happened. And I don't want to step on your
it's okay.
Your post match.
Well, after the match, the Kingdom comes out. The Undisputed Kingdom music hits. The Kingdom, the tag team, the Kingdom comes out pushing Adam Cole in his wheelchair. He's got Adam Cole. He's such a good actor. He has two different smiles from when he's a babyface and when he's a heel. Mm-hmm. It's just in his eyes.
Yeah.
He's got his heel smile on his face. And the other thing that was the big tell here, he's got wet hair. When Adam Cole has wet hair, one, he's 100,000 times more intimidating. Yeah. Two, he's healthy.
One other small detail. I don't know if this is on purpose or if I'm reading too much into it because his shoe game is on point.
Yeah.
Well,
it stood out too.
That's why
I was like, no boot.
And he had the goldest of gold
Jordans,
right?
Yeah.
And like, because he'll usually he has like his Halo Jordans that are like camo green or whatever. Like they're usually not as like bright. So the first thing I saw were his shoes, and then to your point, I'm like,
notice my feet.
Yes,
notice my feet right now.
So if that wasn't on purpose, that was an accident in their favor. Very, very bright. He stands up.
Yeah. Second later, he stands up,
and the place goes fucking nuts.
Yeah, of course. Because he's Adam. At first, I was like, "Oh, they should have done the Adam Cole baby music," but he's a heel. It was right to do this. He's so good as a heel. It's tough because I watch his Twitch stream and stuff, and I know a parasocial relationship is hell with Adam Cole. Yeah. He's like the nicest dude on earth. Yeah, I also feel sympathy for him because he's been hurt so much. Yeah. He's so good at being a prick, like an evil. Just his facials are like second to none. I think they're maybe the best in the company, right there, like in wrestling.
So I had a thought about him. We talked about it before, where it's important to build up new guys while your other guys are gone. I forget what the exact context of was when we were talking about it. Does this ring a bell at all?
We've talked about that topic a number of times.
So now all the guys. So like you have. Adam Cole, you have MJF, you have Kenny Omega. Adam Cole's back.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have taken time to let us get a taste of other stuff.
Yeah.
And now we're used to that stuff, but now it's all going to start coming back.
Yep.
Right? So that's what this felt like.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, right, him.
Yeah.
I forgot I love him because you're just not out of sight, out of mind kind of
right out and up until the second that Adam Cole came out with wet hair and his fancy ass Jordans on, I was like, I hate Undisputed Kingdom. I hate Undisputed. end this program, end this faction. I don't care. As soon as he stood up, I'm like, they're the best faction in the company. Adam Cole, baby. That dude has that kind of charisma. Like, it changes everything.
When he walks down to the ring, because he walks down to the ring and he's hamming it up, which you have to do on your first night back, regardless of if you're a heel.
But he's doing it with heel face, his heel smile.
But his hands are out, and like he clearly has like an agenda, and the agenda is he gets in the ring and he just mean mugs Wardlow.
Yeah, he does. And again, he's such a good actor. He's walking in like full speed, gets in the ring, and just like slows down, and like a stalking big cat. He like walks behind Wardlow, can't see him behind, and just shooting daggers in the back of Wardlow's head. Like, I'm about to super kick your goddamn head off. Yeah. You're a failure. You lost that match. You had a job to do. Roddy had to do it on his own because you couldn't come out here and do what you were supposed to.
Yeah.
And then Wardlow turns around and he snaps back into, oh, we're all buddies kind of thing.
And Wardlow too, like, looks apathetic as hell. Like he couldn't care less.
Yeah, doesn't care. Do you think MJF's going to come back and help Wardlow?
I wouldn't hate that.
I wouldn't either.
No, that's not bad.
That's why I just booked
it. But MJF, where did they leave off? Oh, they left off
the devil, the biggest failure of a 6 month long thing that got ruined when Adam Cole broke his ankle.
And then MJF had to go out for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool.
It'd be a good way, because I was like, oh, man, I don't want, before Adam Cole got hurt, or got healthy again, I was like, oh, I just want to get that over with when MJF gets back, push it out of the way, just have him do a death match real fast, and then move on to the next thing. Well, now I'm like, Adam Cole's back. It reinvigorates everything. We'll put him with Wardlow. You can do that. You can have MJF, because he's going to be a babyface when he comes back. I'd like them to turn him heel pretty quick, but like he's going to be a babyface. So your first thing you could do is like your redemption with Wardlow, who's about to get like turned on and murdered by the faction that he's in, run by the devil guy, you know.
And then MJF joins the Undisputed Kingdom.
Hey, if Adam Cole's healthy, he and MJF can still be together.
I don't want MJF in any more factions. I want him to just lone wolf.
I want him to be a heel leader of a faction again, because that's my favorite MJF. Is he's the best heel in the world.
Yes, that's right. I want him touching it. Like, just be. I don't know. There's a lot he could do when he doesn't have to carry everybody.
When he's got like coked up Sean Spears, like his piece of shit, cackling hyena sidekick, that kind of faction. Yeah. That's what I want. Speaking of cackling hyenas, the Kingdom are immediately, as soon as Adam Cole stands up, it went from like, oh, these guys are bums, to, oh, they're his idiot sidekicks. They're his like idiot goon guys. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, they're the hyenas and lion
changes
King.
Everything.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Adam Cole.
That's a great observation. Yeah,
brings rising tide, baby.
By the way, Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions.
Yeah. That belt should just burn that thing. It's worthless.
Speaking of belts, I wanted this belt to burn, and I can't believe this. Coming around. I'm coming around on this son of a bitch. I mean son of a bitch lovingly. The FTW Championship belt. Hook comes in as the champion against the Lionheart, Chris Jericho.
I don't know how I feel about this match. Like, I've watched it now. I actually watched it twice more because I still couldn't decide whether. So it was too long. I know that. It was way too long.
16 minutes, 34 seconds.
It should have been half that time. That's my only, like, I know that.
Yeah.
And I know that, like, the work in it was good. The crowd hated Chris Jericho so much. But normally go away, like, X-Pac heat is, like, subdued heat.
No,
this was, like, loud, you're a heel.
He's hot. He's hot again.
But they're loudly chanting, please retire, go away, and Fozzy sucks, which you would think, like, so is it X-Pac heat? Is that go away heat? I can't tell. Like, I'm totally up in the air on it. No, the crowd was hot as hell for half the match in, like, what I want to say is a bad way, but I'm not sure, because I don't think any wrestling fan that's that fired up to do, like, that boisterous a chant during a match, is that ever a bad thing?
No.
But they're saying go away heat kind of stuff. I really don't, like, it's not a bit. I don't know how I feel about this match.
Prior to the Hook feud, he had go away heat.
Yeah, it was like us. Like, ugh.
Like, but
I just don't.
He was in a multi-man on a pay-per-view where just like, dude, read the room. Like, if this is where you're ending up, you know what I mean? But like his character right now, I like a lot.
I do too.
Because he's like this afraid old man where he's got all this wisdom, and when he doesn't get his way, he does the literal worst thing I've ever seen someone do in a match. It is very like old dog vibes where like
that's a good call.
They'll growl slightly, and then if you get too close, they'll fucking
your
nip
finger
at
off.
you,
Yeah.
and then they can't move.
Yeah.
Right after that, like off the couch, like he didn't do anything spectacular to beat Hook. He did something fucking evil.
Yeah,
to
monstrous.
Beat Hook. Yeah.
Should have happened in 8 minutes, but
and he apologized the entire time.
Yeah.
Like the entire match he's working, he's being super respectful. Dude, he shakes his hand. He like to start the match.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't do anything overly heel in the match. He just
not until the end.
And he gets his and then he gives Hook a lot in this match.
Hook gets a ton. Hook does something nobody has ever done against Jericho before.
What's that?
Take 2. Jericho's finish, the Judas Effect.
That's
Moxley's
true.
the only one that's ever kicked out of 1.
Yeah.
And Hook kicked out after the Judas Effect. And Jericho, like, he does this old Carney thing. He's always done it where he hits his finisher and he's tired or whatever.
Yeah.
So he can, like, drag that out to make it before he goes for his pin, because then that makes him look even stronger when somebody doesn't kick out after, he hits it and then, like, takes forever. The first one he did that kind of thing. Second one he hits the Judas Effect and immediately pins Hook, pretty much, and Hook's still kicked out. So that's like giving as much as you. Really, that Hook like never give up character is really well fleshed out here.
It turned me on Hook too, because like I was a little Hook because he's like a little dude, and like I get it, you're a boxer, and like the suplexes never really convinced me, but. Like if you're gonna,
I'm with you on most of the stuff, but the suplexes have been pretty goddamn good since day one.
No. The fact he could do them at his size was always a little like you're throwing Brian Cage around like that.
But I mean, he's doing it. He's actually doing it.
They look awesome, but just like the realism of it was like a little bit of a suspension of disbelief. But again, it's goddamn professional wrestling.
Yeah. I didn't need Suplex City, like you pointed out. This was Jericho Lesnar 2016.
So to keep a theme running. I have a suplex count.
I mean, Jericho loves going.
How many suplexes did Hook give to Chris Jericho in totality in this match?
I'm going to say 9.
7.
I want to get close. I hate doing the overshoot thing because it's always a dick move to be like 48.
Yeah,
no, it's not even close to that. 7 is still a lot of goddamn suplexes.
It was an obscene amount of.
I mean, Jericho. It's Jericho's. He obviously was calling this match because he loves repeating himself with matches, and he was doing his Lesnar thing, like he did the same thing he did against Lesnar, which I think you pointed out while we were watching the match.
Yeah,
it was the Suplex City match.
Yeah, I
didn't love that. Like as direct a callback as it was, because especially after watching it a couple times, I'm like, yeah, this is exactly that what he was doing there. But like everything looked good, like all the bumps they were taking and stuff.
This match, I don't care what anyone says, was one of my favorite matches I've seen in a while because character work wise, it turned me completely.
It was like. I kept changing my mind on it.
So let's talk about through the match. Maybe you'll bounce back another way.
I mean, you've pretty much convinced me already, but
so the promo again told the story really well, and the gist of the story here is Hook is willing to take Chris Jericho's advice, but he recognizes that Chris Jericho is historically not the most trustworthy.
He's a dick.
And then Jericho goes completely fucking heel against Taz, not Hook, because he's trying to like. Be that stubborn old guy that you won't take my advice, so I'm going to use violence to get you to see my way, which is how the match played out. Yeah. Like they telegraphed it the prior Dynamite, right? This match is contested under FTW rules, which I had to Google, and
it's ECW.
Taz said, false count anywhere, anything goes, and then Taz hints at weapons during the match. So... which they had time to decorate beforehand, which I thought was cute, like a third grade class. Like, hey, just write FTW on all the furniture so everybody knows.
Because Taz owns Orange.
Taz owns Orange. Like I mentioned, Y2J, or I write Y2J in my notes. Chris Jericho.
Oh, I did the same thing.
offers a fist bump to start the match. Was I'm like, okay.
His terrible fist bump.
Yeah.
His little old man bent.
Did the fans,
Mr. Bird,
start chanting "Hockey sucks"?
Oh, did I? That sounds like this crowd was on their chant game on this whole show. I probably.
Yeah.
That sounds exactly like something that this crowd would have done. Because
sometimes I got a hard time because it's just my laptop speakers. Sometimes
the ones I recorded were just "Go home, Jericho. Go home. Please retire." And Fozzy sucks.
Crowd. The whole show was. It was one of the best crowds.
Like 4 chants I've never heard before, and Hockey Sucks makes it 5, I think.
They're playing nicely with the kind of holistic approach of this match, where commentary is trying to get Taz like, "Hey, what do you got going on?" He's like, "He's a grown ass man. I'm going to sit here and not do a goddamn thing." Pretty much. Like, good. Like that makes Hook look like a much more sympathetic babyface that he's not getting saved by his old ass
Plus,
dad.
Taz said it verbally on like 2 Dynamites ago. I think it might have been on one of the 2 bad Dynamites that they did this year. But he said, "Oh, you know what? Even if I wanted to, Hook's his own man. He would be pissed off if I got involved. He's his own man. He wants to do his own thing. I don't know what he's thinking ever."
Yeah.
So the story's been told. I'm gonna stay out of this. Hook would, if I did anything, Hook would disown me essentially.
Yeah. Never heard you do that accent before. You have a future in local theater. That is a character that I want to hear more of. That's if
Impressions Jones over here.
If you could somehow find a role to be Tony Danza, I think that would suit you.
Angela.
For all the love we're giving Hook here, he's got some work to do on his work. He just like a spatial awareness thing. Like we were mentioning it when we were watching it. Live, he did a German outside the ring, and he almost Chris Jericho's head almost landed on the corner of the ring step, and they even said it on commentary, like, "Oh, it was pretty close."
Yeah.
He's not very good at swinging trash cans. Like
it's the stuff that you learn from having a million matches.
Yeah,
he's not. He just has not. He's 24, as they mentioned,
you could tell.
And he's not doing indies. He's not doing house shows.
No, but aside from, I mean, those are 2 very minor. That's all I had for him, really, for the match. But like, it's just like, I don't know, spatial awareness and like convincingly laying stuff in.
Yeah, all his throws look great. All his suplexes and stuff.
Technically, he's pretty goddamn good
awesome
for his experience.
Yeah. He's Taz's son.
He's higher than his experience level.
Oh, he's way ahead of us.
Yeah, he looks good.
Like, he's going to be a big star, I think.
Yeah,
like the and I like, it may sound like I'm ragging on Hook because I always say this about Hook, but it's just because I think he's I think he does have a bright future, but like the in between stuff, it feels awkward for him, and like his strikes, and that's all stuff that like you learn how to do a good working punch by doing it a zillion times.
Yeah.
Everybody, even the best, like are not. Logan Paul's not great at the in between stuff. No. Like. You just need to work a ton of matches. Yes. So like that's what Hook needs. It's just a bunch of experience. But like the basics, or not the basics, the his base, his like the athletic stuff, the important stuff, the charisma, the stuff that you can't really teach, like charisma stuff, and then the technical side of the actual moves. He's like money. He's got it. He's got all that stuff already. Absolutely. So he's way ahead of the game. Yeah. 24 is a baby in pro wrestling. Like that's like not. Is there anybody else on the men's roster that's that young?
Pretty sure Brock Lesnar was world champion by this point. Just saying.
Yeah, that dude is from Mars, though.
Pretty sure Randy Orton was champion at this point. Just saying.
Yeah, he sucks his whole career, though.
Notice I have to name 2 of the greatest of all time.
Randy Orton should have been a tag wrestler from day one.
Yeah.
Boring.
It's a little boring. More cool spots. Hook did a T-bone suplex from the apron through a table on the floor. So like he fell. It was a dope spot.
Jericho's taking these goddamn bumps too, man. I'm sold.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it 2 stars.
Yeah.
Good match then. It was between 2 and 1 3/4 because regardless of all this stuff, it was way too goddamn long. It was long. It like by twice. Yeah. Like it should have been an 8-minute match or maybe a 10-minute match. And what?
16 minutes. 16 minutes 34 seconds.
So almost not quite almost 17 minutes, but 16 and a half is way too long for the story they were telling.
It was the second shortest match on the card so far, but it did go
for what it was.
No, you're right. Everything you're saying is right. Jericho tried his hardest on some. He did a top rope Hurricane Rana, landed right on his goddamn face.
Oh yeah, I think we did an audible. Oh
yeah,
when we were watching that live.
There was a very funny when there's a trash can in the ring. Now you have to do the required put the trash can on your opponent and hit him with a kendo stick move. Treat him like a drum.
It's got to be loud.
Oh yes,
crazy loud.
Yes. I think it was Excalibur that said. It was one of the guys in commentary. I think it was Excalibur. He said Jericho looked like a droid for a second. It made me laugh.
The announce crew was kicking ass.
Yeah, they were very good.
Jericho's ears are probably fucking dead though from all his fuzzy ears. You probably can't hear it when you bang the.
Jericho strikes me as a performer that holds the mic out past the point of where you're supposed to.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
And this gets a ton of feedback, and the house engineers to kill the mic because it's just because you're not supposed to hold the mic past the speaker. Like if you go to a concert and you see all the speakers to your left and right.
Yeah.
I keep hitting your light. I'm sorry.
Our light, Dave.
Our light. No light will ever be our light. The speakers to the left and the right of the stage, a microphone can't go past that, or else you'll get major feedback. Jericho strikes me as a guy that just ignores that.
Yeah.
And like, it's Judas time. Like, you guys sing it.
Yeah.
I got Blitzkrieg Pop to sing after this. Oh, so this is when it started kicking up character work-wise. So the whole match, he's just getting his ass kicked. He's wrestling like a normal match, not really a lot of character work.
And a little hardcore-ish, because it's a hardcore match, essentially.
By design, it was going to be, right?
Yeah.
So Hook has Jericho in the red rum, and then he gives he throws his leg back, gives Hook a low blow, and then he says he's sorry.
Yeah.
Gives Hook the Judas effect. Hook kicks out. And Jericho's looking a little distraught now, like a little sad, right? And then he says he's sorry again. Another Judas effect. And then he kicks out.
And the announce crew is selling it like, oh, okay, this is it now. This is the 1, 2. And then he kicked out and it was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Also, earlier in the match, we forgot to mention, he laid in what was probably his best-looking walls of Jericho.
Oh, yeah. Because he got flexible 24-year-old Hook to put it on.
Shit out. So at this point now, and he also hit a code breaker at some point. So Chris Jericho has hit 4 world title winning finishers on Hook.
One of which only one guy's ever kicked out of, and that's John Moxley, for Christ's sake.
He did it twice, and it didn't work. So a Walls of Jericho, a code breaker, 2 Judas effects, and he can't fucking win. Yeah. Right?
And they've been telling this story for a long time now with Hook, that he doesn't quit. Even before the Jericho thing started, that was the thing they were doing with Hook, was that, he's undersized, whatever, but he's a dog, and he's never going to quit. You got to kill him.
Right. And indeed he does, because he goes out of the ring, he being Jericho goes out of the ring, and he gets Floyd the baseball bat. Yeah. Hook is stammering in the ring like he's auditioning for The Walking Dead. And he flips off Chris Jericho while staggering, and Chris Jericho blasts him right. I mean, he hits him in the shoulder, but it
was a really good looking bat shot.
He hit him in the goddamn head.
Yeah.
Right? But the shoulder. But
for story purposes, hit him in the head. And the way that it was shot and the way that he did it actually, usually I don't like bat shots or hammer shots. Looked great.
That's actually a note that I had. Turn the camera 20 degrees to the other way so I can't see it hitting his shoulder.
Yeah.
And it would have been that's it, and that's the most minor of down ever, because it's still super effective what they did.
Like the way Jericho did it specifically, I thought he did a great job. Yes. I could see, and that's just wishful thinking. Like if we had a second take, I'd be like, I usually don't even like, unless you're like gonna be Sting and really lay it in, because what the hell?
Yeah, like Sami Callihan.
But bat shots like hammer, like Triple H with his dumb sledgehammer that he. Never understood how to use a sledgehammer. I don't know why you would make that your weapon if you then don't know how to use a hammer.
The way you do it is you put your hand on the heavy part, and then you smash it.
You smash your hand with the But for a bat shot,
it looked awesome.
Looked great.
It looked awesome. And then Chris Jericho wins from that bat shot. He covers Hook and he gets the 1-2 tree.
Hits him. Taz can't even bear to be on commentary, so he stands up. The crowd all thinks that he's going to do something, so they go apeshit. But he just stands there with a blank, oh my God, my son, look on his face.
Keeping his continuity with the character, like he's his own man. Jericho looks super upset. Yeah. Like he doesn't look happy that he won.
Do you think that's
and
he keeps saying
and they keep saying he's sorry. I don't think it's disingenuous.
You don't think it's real?
No, I think the character that they're doing is, again, he just goes into like
the old dog thing. I like that.
Like flashes of Vietnam, and he doesn't remember what happened. kind of thing. Because he's well intended, he wants to be respected, and no one respects him. I think that's the character that he's doing.
That's some. If that is what they're doing, that's some incredible and deeper than wrestling usually. That's the shit that I love the most.
That's the vibe I'm getting entirely from him. Just because he's not doing anything dastardly, except that one fucking thing.
That one at the end,
and it was only after he was proven that he's not as valuable as he used to be.
Yeah,
and like people do some wild shit when
that could be a great story.
And that's like I'm again. The subheading to this podcast is called Cautiously Optimistic.
All right, I'll give it another quarter star, 2.25.
5 star. This gets my lowest rating ever. 7 thumbs up.
So next up, we had the women's championship match. Timeless Toni Storm, whose head is now black and white, which I love, versus Thunder Rosa, whose head is in a mask.
You know what La Mera Mera means?
No, but I have that entire Nigel line that because it was my favorite back and forth, maybe on for the entire show on commentary.
I'll save it for that then.
I will, but before we get into the meat of it, when we were watching this live, I didn't like the match very much. And then when I rewatched it, I was like, I think it was just because the Jericho match went too long and it me a little bit.
Right.
Because this was a pretty good match.
This was a very good match.
This is a pretty good goddamn match. Thunder Rosa did, I think, because she's that way, kind of. She dead weighted Tony on a couple of different sky high and a suplex in the match. But like their real life, I'm pretty sure it exists. Animosity like came through, and they were potatoing the hell out of each other, which made for a pretty good match.
Yes, yes. I didn't want to be presumptuous and be like they were very stiff. But
Toni Storm, like when Rosa went out, she said publicly that like. Not in so many words, but she said she could wrestle. She's faking it pretty much. Yeah. If she should tough it out, she's fine. And then Toni Storm hated that like real life Toni Storm hated that interim champion thing that they did which I thought was dumb too. I don't like when they call it that. Just call it the champion.
1000%.
But she hated it and was real vocal about it. And then Rosa said some stuff back. Yeah. Rosa's got a pretty storied history of having spats with other wrestlers and maybe working a little stiff. People complaining about it. But sometimes it works in our favor as fans.
Absolutely.
And we get a match like this.
Yeah. Not only was the match awesome, again, promo, very good line. Made you want Thunder Rosa to have a little bit of, a little bit of fan support. She said, my body couldn't carry me as far as my passion did. That stood out to me because I'm like, okay, she's been injured for a long time, and the video is all about her coming back from an injury. And then Toni Storm, like you just highlighted, which I think is brilliant that they're using its storyline now, is like, I'm not the interim champion. I'm the goddamn champion.
I was then too.
And then Thunder Rosa is like, I never lost this title. Right? So, and like, it was the most natural build ever.
I should extrapolate on the Toni Storm's head being black and white. Yeah. Literally, her head was black and white. Yeah. Her hair was gray, like dyed gray, and she had like face paint on. Yeah. Like it was actually real makeup. I think like almost movie level makeup to make her head like look like it was black and white.
Yeah,
and then Rosa,
her color palette, Toni Storm feels very authentic.
Yeah,
like it feels like if I went to a museum and I saw like, oh, this was an actual on-screen outfit for some movie in that era, it would be those colors,
100%,
and like that cut and stuff. Like it just feels super well done.
Rosa went with a different look too. It was mentioning Toni Storm's look. Yeah. Rosa came out wearing like a lucha mask the whole time, and she kept it on right up until to the point where the Tony Schiavone's like, okay, is she gonna wrestle in a mask now? Because it was like right before the bell rang before she took it off, because she took it off to reveal that she no longer is doing the face paint.
No,
she just had like regular eye makeup on. Yep. I thought it was an improvement. I liked her look here.
100%. She looked like lean as fuck too. She looked good.
She looked in like it's a Sheamus situation. When she first came back, I think I was like, oh, maybe she doesn't have it anymore. I think it was just rust.
Yeah,
because she looks better like athletically, and just looks a lot crisper. Has the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. My next note was what La Mera Mera means.
Okay, so Nigel, like towards the start of the match too, so it fits. Nigel McGuinness now is on commentary. Taz had to leave because he was like inconsolable after his son got his brain caved in. on the prior match. So Nigel's now out on color commentary, and he does. Tony Storm looks like I'm going to sound like Will Ospreay, but Tony Storm looks like Betty Davis in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Rosa looks like Princess Jasmine from Aladdin. And if she can get a win here tonight, it certainly will be a whole new world for La Mera Mera. And then Excalibur goes, looks like we don't even have to be out here, Tony. Which I thought was absolutely delightful.
Nigel was just sitting back, just, okay, what can I do?
Yeah.
I got a little bit of time here. What can I do to shine kind of thing. Well, Mera Mera means the boss.
CEO. See, so now I'm a fan of Thunder Rosa too.
Mera Mera. I had to Google it. I'm like, the fuck does that mean? Because she keeps saying it. As you mentioned, these two beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just a lot of good stuff. Top rope.
Yeah. Now I don't have a ton to say either. I went 3.5 stars. Like, very good match.
Yeah. 5 stars.
I really think that initial watch and the crowd stayed pretty good for this too. Yep. Like I felt a little like, because the Jericho match went so long, like me personally, I was like, and it took me a little while. I didn't really warm up to it. But then again, when I watched it, the second watch, I was just like, was able to fast forward through a lot of the length of the Jericho match. So I didn't feel that hangover after that one. And this was just really good. Yeah. It was just, like I said, Thunder, a couple of points. Tony Storm went for a sky high. Thunder Rosa dead weighted her a little bit, and I think she was not being super cooperative on a suplex. But there was only those two moments in the match. The rest of it was just they were just beating the bloody hell out of each other.
Absolutely.
Tony Storm. My biggest takeaway is, of course, as always. I was right. What I was saying the entire time with Tony Storm is that I like her character. She should not do the character bullshit during matches, though. And she totally abandoned that bullshit in this match.
Very briefly once.
Yeah.
They went to
the black and white thing.
Very briefly.
But that was it.
Yes.
The rest of it, she wrestled like a Tony Storm match before she was timeless.
Yes.
And it was a million times better. Yeah. Big surprise.
Also, too, like, I don't know if it's because of the program leading up to it, but they were doing a bunch of stuff with makeup and identity and stuff like that. And Tony Storm cuts a promo after. So Tony Storm wipes up, leading up to this, Tony Storm wipes off Thunder Rosa's makeup, which is her like signature to this point, which is why when she comes out with the mask,
no makeup.
It's a big departure from her, what we know about her. And then last week on Dynamite, Thunder Rosa like traps Tony Storm, like rubs or puts lipstick all over, like around her mouth, like how in movies they'll dictate someone like, oh, this is a crazy person because they're
the lipstick thing,
lipstick all over. But and then Tony Storm cuts a promo after with she's like clearly rubbed the lipstick into her face or whatever. She looks like a horror movie.
She just left it on. Yeah, she like rubbed it and then was like, I'm not going to clean this up. I'm talking to the camera.
She looks
scary as hell. Yeah.
So like if they're gonna do like make her unhinged, like that, like dope.
Like use the crazy, timeless Tony thing to also be crazy. Like, oh Jesus, like when she snaps, it's dangerous.
Totally.
And she wrestled this match like that.
And that removes like the tongue in cheekness of it all. Just like it's on when it's on, but like it's not when it's time to fucking go. Like
go.
It's, like we're gonna go. And she did some cool stuff. Like, and Thunder Rosa did too. She did a power bomb. She did an apron Death Valley driver.
Yeah. Stiff. Everything was stiff.
Everything was stiff. Tony Storm did a very smooth looking, like Thunder Rosa's like sitting on the middle rope, and Tony Storm runs behind her, does a backstabber, and then a DDT right into a really nice perfect plex.
Yeah.
And it looked fucking good.
It's a fisherman suplex, Dave.
We're
not in the Fed.
Perfect plex. And then I don't know if this cameraman's going to get a promotion or be fined. But Mariah May jumps on the ring apron, and Mariah May has shorts on, but she has a skirt on as well. And he is just right up her skirt.
He did some WrestleMania 9 Lex Luger sidekick work. If you guys have been listening for a little bit.
And it used to be, and if you haven't, please check the archives for our secondary
Turnbuckle Time Machine. That is
Turnbuckle Time Machine.
And that WrestleMania 9 episode was, if I do say so myself, it was quite good.
Hanging from the Coliseum. But, Mariah May jumps up on the apron, and she's not dressed like Tony Storm. She's dressed like Mariah May. Deonna Purrazzo comes out, and she puts her in like the electric chair. She puts her on her shoulders, but then she like throws her forward onto the ring apron. This made me laugh out loud because of like if you think about like the implications of this if it went the way he wanted it to. So after Deonna Purrazzo attacks Mariah May off camera, Luther is apparently running full speed toward Deonna Purrazzo, and she sidesteps and throws him into the ring steps.
Good point. What was 300-pound ass Luther gonna do?
Was his intention to like spear the shit out of a woman?
Annihilate. Yeah. Maybe he was pissed off because Rosa potatoed him on Dynamite.
Yeah, it made me laugh out loud thinking about that. Mariah May and Deonna Purrazzo fight to the back. Thunder Rosa gets, she's the victim of the Storm Zero, the snap pile driver.
It's a cool looking.
It's dope. It doesn't work because, like I said, Thunder Rosa kicks out.
Yeah. Which at this point, while we were watching the first time, I was like, is that supposed to happen?
Yeah.
Which is that's the cool thing that can come out of like, I'm not sure if these people are cooperating 100% with each other because I know they don't like each other. It puts that doubt in your mind, and then I get worked by like a kick out. And I'm like, was that supposed to happen? Is this going sideways? Makes it a lot more exciting.
Yeah. Already she's back and she's pulling this shit. Toni Storm puts Thunder Rosa in a Texas cloverleaf. So you, who have been, I don't know, man,
championing the Texas cloverleaf.
You
lately.
put stuff into the universe, and I guess AEW is just on the same radio frequency because they tend to incorporate a lot of stuff.
I'm on that wavelength, Dave. Yeah. I'm on the AEW wavelength.
Yeah. Are you on the staff? Are you on the payroll?
Not yet.
Not yet. So the finish was this annoyed me. So Thunder Rosa has Toni Storm in like a choke. And the announce team's like insisting that it's a rear naked choke, and they're focusing on like the physiology of like,
they got pretty specific,
choking the artery up, but like her arm was nowhere near.
Super loose.
It's like they were watching a different video, and then it was a huge waste of time. Toni Storm gets to the ropes to break the hold. Thunder Rosa pulls Toni Storm by the leg away from the ropes, but Toni Storm holds onto the ring apron that says Dynasty on it. She pulls it into the ring. The ref's a tidy fella. He wants a clean ring, so he takes the time to remove the ring apron from the ring. Thunder Rosa grabs Toni Storm. Oh, no, she doesn't. She kicks her right facing her. Toni Storm kicks Thunder Rosa right in the balls.
Yeah.
Gets another Storm Zero on her and gets the W.
I've been hearing, but prior to this match, in the last month, I've heard on wrestling radio shows and seen online multiple arguments over whether a low blow on a woman would be effective.
Did they ever ask a woman?
Yeah, that's like one time. And the answer that they got is like, no shit. It's not the same as getting hit in the balls.
Yeah.
It doesn't like make you throw up.
Yeah.
But it's genitals. Of course it hurts. It hurts. It's very sensitive because it's genitals.
Let me kick you anywhere in your body that hard.
You can hit me in my genitals like without touching my balls.
Right.
And it would hurt pretty goddamn bad. So it still works.
Kick me anywhere.
but like low blow in general, that's all sensitive for all of us.
1,000%.
Man and woman.
Yes. That's why there's so many of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good thing for most situations. But getting kicked there by Toni Storm, not necessarily one of those situations.
No. Are we good?
Oh, yeah, no, I was just looking at something.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to check. Yeah, no, we're good. We're good.
Okay, good.
I forgot a name for later.
Well, I'm going to sit back and let you cook for a second.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Because, have at it.
So what we had next was the Billy Goat Brav against the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, in a match that has been built up not just online by the wrestling fan community, but going into this match by AEW and advertised as such, potentially the greatest match of all time. Now, normally I would say with wrestling, everything is this is going to be the greatest WrestleMania of all time, the biggest match of all time. This was one of the very, very few times in our life that they were telling the goddamn truth.
Yes.
Dave Meltzer said he believes, and if you listen to the guy actually talk, people were giving a shit about this because, he loves this style of match or whatever. He said he believes it's the best North American match that's ever happened, or best match on North American soil. He legitimately was trying to work through whether that was an accurate thing to say or not. And he couldn't come up with anything else. And I did the same thing. And I absolutely, I can't think of an American match, North American match that's even close to on this level. I think this might have ended up being. I watched this 4 times now. I think it's the best wrestling match I've ever seen in my life. And I don't feel like that is a big hyperbole. The psychology that these two had, like absolutely unmatched. And this is the first time they've ever been in a wrestling ring together. It's insane how much these two, the big standout, I don't even want to go like move for move. There's a couple of moves I want to talk about in the match. It's a couple of spots because they're just such outstanding
Before we get to the match itself, I'll just hop in for the video package, right?
Oh, yeah.
So they had some awesome lines. They built it up as the best, first the best. That's it. Brian Danielson said, if this is the last year of my career, I will not go gently into that good night. Will Ospreay said, I cannot call myself the best wrestler in the world until after Dynasty.
Yep.
The greatest of all time versus the greatest of the 21st century. Not match of the year. It's going to be match of the decade.
Also, the thing that one of your big complaints coming into this match wound up, looks like it's going to be a big part of the story.
Yeah.
Looks like the reason Danielson was doing the match, wrestle, is because this is it for full-time wrestling for Bryan Danielson. He said, I didn't see this until after the show, but right prior to the pay-per-view, he did an interview where he said, yeah, this is my last match as a full-time wrestler. Mm-hmm. I'm going part-time. It's going to be really weird for me. I'm never going to retire because I'm Bryan Danielson. Like, I would be unhappy if I ever retired from wrestling,
right.
But he's going like essentially part-time from this forward. And the story they told is the kayfabe reason why he's not going to be on, like doing wrestling like Bryan Danielson always does, going forward.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. The point I was getting to was the biggest. No, it's fine. The biggest standout thing after watching multiple times, because you watch this match the first time and your tits are blown off so much that you can't really focus in on what nuts and bolts made it as great as it was. It's just like nonstop barrage of every kind of great wrestling that exists happening on screen at all times. So It took a number of watches for me to like hammer into why was this so great? Why did that feel so incredible? Mm-hmm. Why are these two doing this sequence or this move so much better than anybody else I've ever seen doing similar things?
Right.
And the conclusion I came to after 4 and change viewings of this match, I've never seen two guys trust each other this much in a wrestling match. And that's really what it comes down to. I mean, Will Ospreay is obviously the most athletically gifted wrestler on earth, probably. He's the most athletically gifted wrestler on earth. He's, in my opinion, like far and away the best wrestler in the world right now. And Bryan Danielson is the best technical wrestler. Nigel had a great line mid-match, by the way. It's very clear why Danielson's been named the best technical wrestler in the world so many times. He pays for it. These two trust each other so much that, like on my favorite spot of the match, towards the end, Ospreay goes for the Oz Cutter. Danielson springs out, does his own burst of energy, fighting spirit Japanese thing where he fires up because he was kind of like beat down at this point. And Ospreay, while going for the Oz Cutter, Danielson just hits him with the Busaiku knee. But he hits him in a way that looks like it's just the tip of his knee hitting Ospreay right in the temple. And after watching it like slow-mo replay and a couple of times, I'm like, oh man, why does it look so good? Why does it look so good? It's one, because Bryan Danielson is so incredible and precise in everything he does that he is able to do that knee against an opponent who's flying at him as fast as Will Ospreay moves backwards. And he's so precise that he can put the knee on to where his kneecap is touching Will Ospreay's side of his head. But in truth, his shin hits Ospreay kind of in the shoulder first, and that is what takes the brunt of it. But like even in slow motion, it's hard to like discern that's what's happening. I just know like they're human beings, so it had the brunt of the impact could not have been on the side of Will Ospreay's head, or else it would cave his face in. Mm-hmm. Danielson is that precise. He's always been that precise. But what he has here in Will Ospreay is an opponent who trusts him so much that even though he knows, in real life, I'm about to take a Psycho knee, he also knows in kayfabe, my character wouldn't know that if a Psycho knee is coming, it's a counter. He wouldn't know it's coming.
Right.
So he works the move just like he's going for the Oscutter the whole time. Never flinches, never turns his head away, doesn't do it any different than he would do that Oscutter.
Yeah.
Like if he knew that he was going to hit it rather than like take a knee to the side of his head.
Yeah.
It's that meeting of the two best wrestlers on earth, able to pull off those moves, and both guys trusting the other guy to that level, which is pretty much unprecedented, that leads to just every interaction, every move looks real and perfect.
Right.
And I've never seen anything quite like it.
Nope.
Anything else, Dave?
I mean,
you could start. I just monologued for several minutes.
But
I have more to talk about in the match. I just didn't want to do villain in the movie monologuing, just talking.
I only had a couple small details. I thought this match is going to be remembered for several sequences in the latter half.
Yeah,
but the beginning of the match was super understated, where they were just trying. They started technical, right, and it started like a manageable tit for tat kind of thing. They were doing the chain wrestling, where they would and they the ECW face off and the crowd popped after they did a long string of chain wrestling.
The crowd for this
But then Will Ospreay tried to go submission style, right, and he tried, and Danielson at one point after Ospreay had him in whatever the fuck he had him in. He's holding his foot. Danielson stands up, and Will Ospreay has his foot, and Danielson just flips him off.
Yeah,
and that was a subtle Ospreay I'm trying your thing, and Danielson's like, don't fucking try my thing, dude. And then Danielson immediately did the same moves back to him better.
Yeah,
right. So little shit like that, and then they tried to go Japanese style.
Yep, and
they're beating the shit out of each other. And I said it upstairs. Ospreay did the thing that happened to Brock Lesnar in the UFC when he got kicked in the stomach, where he took the kick and then it took a couple beats and then he collapsed.
Yeah.
Ospreay did the same thing. So he tried to do, they're trying to prove who's the best. And if they're scoreboarding right now, Danielson's the best.
And they're trading every kind of style that you can do in wrestling.
And then there were at least, 3 to 6 sections of this match that you could, compartmentalized.
Absolutely.
And
it
all
at the very beginning
super nicely.
To your point on the little character stuff too, in the early part of the match, for the first 2 minutes maybe. By the way, the crowd for this match is
molten.
It's the hottest crowd I've seen. I'll say it's a tie. Hottest crowd I've ever seen with Money in the Bank 2011 Chicago.
Hogan Rock?
It's hotter. 2011 was hotter than Hogan Rock too. It's just it's a different thing. It's rabid. Hogan Rock was awesome, but that was a big giant crowd just constantly going. It was a good amount of noise the whole time.
Right.
This was like Money in the Bank, where everybody was just so fired up for the match that people were frothing. They're screaming to start the match nothing's happened yet. By the way, Will Ospreay's gotten. Oh, this was the Meltzer thing that I wanted to mention. He was pondering whether Will Ospreay's is he the fastest guy ever in the history of wrestling to come to a promotion and get this over. There's only been a couple of guys ever this over.
Right.
In wrestling. And he was he's a maniac. He was I can remember Hogan in 82 in AWA. It took him 3 months. I'm how the fuck do you remember that? You psycho. But 2 foreign guys have come to this company and in 2 months are the 2 most over babyface and heel. And it's insane. The star power that those 2 guys Ospreay and Okada that they carry just around them. But the little story thing, Danielson was doing his little shit-eating smirk thing that he does quite often. It's I'm ready. It's time to wrestle. I'm the wrestle porn guy. I love this. And let's see what you can do. And then 3 sequences in, Ospreay does one of his crazy counter, in a million miles an hour thing. And Danielson's face goes to, oh, fuck, okay, that's what we're doing. And then no more smirks. Rest of the match, it was business time right at the perfect time to do that because
Yeah.
it was like when Ospreay showed him, oh, here's what I could do. And Danielson essentially saying, oh, shit, I guess they weren't lying.
Yeah.
Like, it's time to go. And he just super serious the rest of the match.
Yeah.
Did you want to do, there's like sequences or individual spots?
Go.
I've been talking a lot here.
Go, baby, go.
The move that everybody like wants to talk about always because it was the big story of the match is the Storm Driver, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But like the actual scariest move, the Storm Driver looked super scary, and right when they did it, I was like, oh my god, he did it like he did to Omega. It wasn't even close.
Talking about the Tiger Driver 91. He calls it the Storm Driver.
The Storm Driver. Storm Driver, bruv. Yeah, it's not the Tiger Driver 91 anymore, Dave.
Sorry, bruv.
Yeah. It was the Dragon Suplex that, not the Tiger Suplex that Danielson does. The Avalanche Tiger Suplex was way more dangerous. Yeah. Again, they did it safely because they're both magicians and like incredible athletes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Danielson doesn't like just explaining it. It seems like a move that you couldn't do without potentially paralyzing somebody. Right. But the Tiger Suplex, so you got like an underhook kind of a thing from you're standing behind your opponent and you hook their arms behind their back and then suplex, like a German suplex from that. They did it from the top goddamn rope and it looked like Ospreay just landed right on top of his head. He didn't. Again, slow-mo replay. You're like, oh, okay. No, he's unbelievable. He's like Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
He landed on the upper part of his back somehow. I have no idea how.
Also, too, when we were watching it, I remember we were saying it looked like he let him go way faster than he actually did. Because then they replayed it and you're like, he hung on.
He's still got his arms. They're an inch off the mat. He's still got his arms. Like, that's that trust thing. Like, you can't have that. Yeah. Like, I think that might be the secret sauce for Will Ospreay is just trust. Like, he knows he can do everything, but he trusts his opponents to do it too. So nothing ever looks like he never does the little nanosecond flinch that most people do in wrestling because you know the thing's coming. So you brace for it a little bit because you're human. He just doesn't. He doesn't do that. I don't know how. Mm-hmm. It's like he's hacked his own brain or something. To like,
maybe
okay, I'm
he's
just
got
not gonna.
The thing that the free climbers have.
Yeah,
where like you don't feel that
like a missing amygdala or something.
Yeah,
or whatever.
like you're there's absolutely. Maybe he's got that.
It would be at least an explanation because as a fan on the I'm thank God for it. As a fan on the outside looking in, I don't have an explanation how somebody can do that. Right. It's like a video game character or something. He's got no flinch in him.
He's also like a maxed out video game character.
Yeah,
like, he's so fucking fast.
How about that gear too?
He looks great.
It's beautiful.
I
love his gear.
He made the worst flavors of Starburst look fucking awesome. Like he's just yellow and green.
I want like a suit jacket, like with the inside.
Yeah.
To be his pants that he was wearing in this match.
That's the suit that Malachi Black was going to wear on top of his adorable boxer
his little boxers, his little silk boxers. Match just ramps up. They 32 minutes, I think, is what
32 minutes 40 seconds.
It was exactly the perfect amount of time for this match. The type of match, everything about this match was just perfect. It ramps up. They're both giving each other everything that they have, and they can't quite put each other away. It winds up coming down to what I said on the day was a samurai showdown. I've heard it. People, reference it as an old west, like a western movie, OK Corral kind of thing. I've heard a lot of people say anime inspired. Both guys in opposing corners. Ospreay getting fired up elbow pad kind of taunt. I'm about to hit you with the hidden blade. Danielson doing the yes chant hands, and the crowd's just absolutely going nuts. We got by the way, during this match, we got "We're Not Worthy" towards the end of the match. I think it's the first time I've ever heard that one. This is awesome. Like 30 seconds in, we got "Fight Forever." 2.5 minutes in, so the crowd was like super hot for the whole thing.
You got a loud "fuck Don Callis."
We got like a random "fuck Don Callis" appeared in the middle of the match.
Both these guys.
Callis, by the way, this entire match is selling how Ospreay's showing too much weakness. can't be like that. You're, you got a killer instinct. You're going to lose. Danielson's acting. Danielson's being much more of a killer here. He's much more of a man in this fight. Ospreay can't do that. Right. Can't do that. Got to capitalize. Got to kill him while he's down. Don't have any empathy for this guy. Just nonstop. He's awesome. Don Callis in this match on color.
He says right at the top too. This is another classic courtesy of Don Callis.
Yes. I think I actually had a note on the line. Where's my Meltzer 82? He's a psycho. Ospreay. Oh yeah, this wasn't like the story thing, but I love Don Callis's constant medical diagnosis that he does in every match. This one was, I think that might be a rib cartilage situation. Like, oh really, Dr. Callis? What the hell are you talking about?
Very specific.
But yeah, he's selling the Ospreay's too weak. So in opposite corners, Danielson's doing his yes chant thing. There's some opposing no's coming in too, but it just seems like all 6,000 people are in unison yelling everything together. It's like a hive mind of awesomeness. And this, what they are about to do, is the poster. I don't know if you saw that. This was the poster for Dynasty. They recreated the poster advertising the match. Was
what?
Both of those guys going for their big, strike finish at the same time. Ospreay's just a hair quicker and hits the hidden blade.
Yeah.
Danielson can't quite get the Busaiku knee off in time.
Look at that. That's
little details.
That's video game shit.
AEW. By the way, we got about 7 full-throated AEW chants. It was ECW level AEW chants. I was chanting it on the deck. I did. Dave can attest to this. I watched the entire pay-per-view. We watched it out on my deck. I bring a TV out there. It's like a closed-in deck. Sitting at a table. This match, I could not contain myself. I had to stand about 8 inches from the TV the entire thing. So the hidden blade beats out the Busaiku knee. And at this point, Ospreay's like in that zone where he gets so fired up and it's time to put the guy away. They've been building this up for several weeks. AEW. By having multiple opponents do the thing where after he hits the big move, they do the okay, just kill me kind of thing. So Ospreay takes him, grabs Danielson, puts him up for the Tiger Driver 91, aka Storm Driver, the thing that in the first promo in the build to this match, Ospreay referenced Danielson coming to him and saying, "Was it worth it, bruv?" Using this dangerous, quote unquote, dangerous move, and Ospreay's thing was, "Well, I got the win," so of course it was. Hits the Storm Driver. When he first does it, I thought he killed Bryan Danielson. Turned out it was like the safest one that he's ever done because these guys are just geniuses. And after he hits it, Ospreay's like, he's going to do the thing, go back to his corner, all fired up, gonna hit the hidden blade. And again, this is the story they've been telling too with his opponents that have been increasingly difficult to put away. But at the end, they basically, all of them have been conceding the, okay, just hit me, end this. So Ospreay's ready to do that. His back is to Bryce Remsburg, the ref, and Danielson, who, unbeknownst to Will Ospreay now, because he's so fired up and facing out to the crowd, getting fired up, chanting along with the crowd, back to the situation the entire time. Danielson is selling like seizure, like he's got a broken neck or he's kicking his legs. Like it's really, really realistic selling.
It was off-putting.
The only time that you can, and like in retrospect, when it happened, I was like, oh shit, is he hurt? Is he hurt? Because everyone was like, oh, is he hurt?
Yeah. The
only time Bryan Danielson is actually hurt is when you have no idea if he's hurt. He's convinced me now, over the course of the last 18 months, that he broke his leg when he was doing a joke spot where he stuck his foot in between a ramp and a ring, and then pretended like it was broken and he was going to be out for forever. And multiple concussion seizure spots, like every one of them, I'm like, oh my God, I think he's really hurt.
Yeah.
But then when he broke his arm halfway into an Okada match, I had no idea. Broke his orbital bone halfway through a match, no idea. Yeah. So when he's hurt, we don't know. When he's selling, we all think he's dying. So Remsburg is like motioning to Doc Samson, come in. Now, if in kayfabe, Bryce Remsburg is a terrible referee here, because if you really thought Bryan Danielson was like dying, he would just grab Will Ospreay and be like, no, we have to stop the match. What he's doing is calling Doc Samson over, gets up to like get closer to the doctor so he can hear him, to call him, and that is when Ospreay turns around. So he has no idea that the referee this whole time, while Ospreay's been all fired up in the corner, facing out to the crowd, the refs has been like checking on Danielson to the point where it's clear that there's a problem in kayfabe, but there's a problem. So when the ref gets up, Ospreay turns around. Never in his sight line for 1 second does he see Bryce Remsburg like hunched over Danielson. So he thinks it's go time. It's what I've been dealing with for the last several weeks. Every one of these matches, it's ending exactly the same as that. I'm going to put him away. And he hits him with just the most brutal looking hidden blade. I think he's done so far in this company. And Danielson's just selling is absolutely unbelievable. I think I figured out how the hidden blade works, kind of, but I still don't understand the timing. I have no idea how Danielson can react as quickly as he does in the cell without getting killed. Ospreay gets the 1, 2, 3 here. Place goes berserk. But then Danielson continues to like sell the injury to the point where Ospreay starts to notice and is like going over to check. Is he okay? And then Doc Samson's like, no, he's not okay. Did you see what you did? You just hit him in the head. Yeah. You almost paralyzed him, and then you hit him in the head. And he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about, because he didn't see it.
Right.
And I think that's what, and with that alongside the Don Callis, he's being weak. He's showing too much empathy. Well, Ospreay shows a lot of empathy after this match. And then in the post scrum, he announced that he's retiring the Storm Driver.
Yeah.
Because that's the story. It's been the story. The move has been the story in the build up to this match, which was fantastic. And it's going to be the story that brings us through to the eventual feud with Don Callis, breakup, however they want to do it. It's going to be better than what I can think of. But that's going to be, they postmarked it for us throughout this match.
So who do you think he beats with the Storm Driver next? Because he's not retiring it.
He's not retiring it.
It's going to be brought out for a very special
It's going to be like in 7 months or something. Yeah. But or maybe like if they want to go full NJPW, because this is a big Japan thing, is that specific moves are like banned or too dangerous to use, and then you use it, but it's like once every 2 years or something. So it'll be like either Omega,
like when he wins the title.
It'll be I would. By the way, everybody's like, "Oh, it's got to be Ospreay Swerve at Wembley."
Too soon.
Ospreay Okada is what I would do at Wembley, because nobody's going to be upset about that.
What is it? 4 months?
Yeah. But I don't put the title on him yet. He's so lava hot. Yeah. It ain't going. That heat is not going anywhere, man. As long as he's on TV and wrestling like this,
right,
that he's just going to get hotter. He's going to not only will he not cool off, he'll bring fans in. This is how you wrestle some people into a company.
Yeah.
Wrestle new fans on board, because this was I think it was a really savvy little move. Somebody tweeted this entire match out immediately after the show. Everything that went out after the show, that people were putting out, AEW was getting shut down. The person whoever tweeted this out, it was like a anonymous Twitter account, tweeted this out, was getting millions of views, and they didn't take it down for 24 hours or something. So I think that was just straight up AEW going, let that get out.
Yeah.
Let's let everybody see this fucking thing, and they're going to want to come back and watch this again.
100%. I mean, there's no downside into putting a full match on. Once your buy rates cool off, why wouldn't you just put it out?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe not 24 hours after. Maybe in about a week or two. But.
They went out they made it look like it was just somebody that was recording it and tweeted it out.
Yeah.
And they left it out for a full 24. They didn't take it down.
Put it on your official page for 24 hours.
I would do that now.
Yeah.
That. I think that's cool to do that, do the pretend thing and let people think that they're getting it from Twitter or whatever for a day. And then now just be like, we don't want to deprive society of this incredible piece of art. Here it is for free.
Absolutely.
And put it out there for everybody. Pretty sure it's the best wrestling match I've ever seen. 5 gold stars, obviously. I can't imagine anything is going to beat this for match of the year. If it does, holy shit, we're lucky people.
I think the only thing that is going to come close to it is the WrestleMania main event.
It wasn't my top match at WrestleMania, so.
But like, it depends who votes, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if you're like traditionally,
I understand when people are like, "That's my favorite thing that's happened."
Yes, they look at like overall impact.
Yeah.
To a product or something like that. But like, yeah, athletically.
I mean, I think they're all, anybody that does that is stupid and wrong, but I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah, they want a job.
This is the greatest.
It's sycophantic.
I forgot my favorite Don Callis nonsense. He, in the storytelling that he was doing, of like Ospreay's, you can't, don't waste time. You gotta, kick him while he's down, kill this guy. Callis says, where'd it go? Here we go. Stop worrying about these, because Ospreay hit a move and then the crowd went nuts. So he like kind of motioned to them like, thanks, let's get fired up.
Yep.
Callis says, stop worrying about these Visigoth fans. And I was like, I don't know what that means. So I looked it up, and the Visigoths were like the Germanic, what they called the savage people.
Yeah.
That invaded the Roman Empire and effectively ended the Roman Empire. It was like these savages that invaded there were so many of them that they like overthrew the German Empire. Most historians think that this was like the main cause of the fall of the Roman Empire. That's what Don Callis used to call the people of St. Louis
and now
savages, basically.
The ancestors of the group of people that overthrew historically what is considered one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful civilization of all time, is just filling up AEW shows.
It was him saying they're savages.
No, I know what
but Visigoths is just such a fucking heel way to say that.
They really lost their aim, is what I'm saying. Fuck Rome. Let's go to Dynasty. Yeah, I mean, you summed up everything pretty goddamn perfectly. We could go spot for spot match in the match, but just spend the money. This match is worth the price of the pay-per-view.
Yeah, like even knowing the results, I would say like go maybe use a VPN if you're in America and get the British price, but pay for it. Sure, yeah pay for it. Go buy it.
It was fucking good. Felt really bad for everything that had to follow this because nothing came close to this. Afterwards. I'm probably gonna roll your eyes at this, but I didn't think it until after the show. What a great like actual not kayfabe shoot leadership move it is to you're an EVP and you're like, what's got to go on after fucking Ospreay Danielson? Yeah,
we got it.
Yeah,
like nobody else wants that spot.
But nothing. But how they book pay-per-views? We called it. That's the order it was gonna go in.
But like following this thing.
They
had to work their asses off to like they worked the crowd. So the next match was the EVPs versus FTR, the ladder match for the tag belts. Shout out Stus. I think I'm with Stus on this. I think it's my favorite belt in wrestling is the AEW tag belts.
Yeah.
And they worked an absolutely insane tried to kill each other ladder match that like only doing that, it was the only thing that you could have done to get this crowd that was like just absolutely spent after essentially screaming at the top of their lungs nonstop for 32 straight minutes.
Right.
They worked the crowd back into the match by the end. And then the
punctuation
the
mark
twist
at the
that
end.
we got at the end, that got an absolutely insane pop as well.
It was awesome.
But like, man, I love that. Again, it's if you want move by move, it's an incredible Bucks FTR ladder match. Yeah, you guys don't need us to break it down move by move. So just some observations about what happened in the ring. I love that. Like at this point, every big match that FTR has, like every big pay-per-view match, Dax decides big match means I need to get that like weird windshield blood on my head like nonstop. Dax bleeds now in every big match. But it like something I pointed out in the night that I don't know if it's like a skincare product he uses that makes this happen. His blood pools on his head in a weird way. Yeah. It looks like water on your windshield if you use Rain-X. Like it beads in a strange way. Yeah. Maybe Dax is an alien. I don't know, but like that happens to him, and then Cash Wheeler gets possessed by the spirit of Darby Allin in every one of these matches. Like Dax is Darby. He is Darby Allin.
Cash.
Cash is Darby Allin in this match. He not just being crazy like that, like literally moveset, like the dive, the Darby dive that nobody can do. Nobody does because nobody can do.
Right.
But Darby, well, if it's a big match, Cash Wheeler can do it because he did it about 3 times in this match. One of those times he went through a table that absolutely exploded into a million splinters. The big giant spots that I loved the most, the Cash getting nutted on a ladder that was stretched across from the announce table, or maybe it was the barricade to the ring apron, ladder across that. Dax gets knocked down. He's standing on it, gets knocked, so he's the ladder rung like hits him in the nuts, and he's stuck there. And they use that opportunity to do the EVP trigger on the ladder while Dax is like standing there nutted or hung up there. The Dax spot where he just explodes himself through that table. There's a Nicholas Jackson table bump that I absolutely went nuts for while we were watching. It just was like a perfect. So it was because it was story too. This might have been a different, separate, because there was about 100 awesome table bumps in this match, but Nicholas did the story coming in, or one of the stories that I had like brought up on previous podcasts, was that Cash Wheeler's been in every one of these Bucks matches more and more trying to do and pull off and successfully hit a 450. And like every time it blows up in his face or whatever. So in this match, Nicholas Jackson's like, all right, dude, well, I'll show you how to actually do a 450. He does one from the top rope to the table on the outside.
Yes, it looked good,
it was incredible. And that actually, I didn't even realize it when we were watching it, but later thinking about it, I'm like, oh, that's a payoff to the Cash Wheeler 450 stuff that they've been doing for the last 2 years or whatever. By far the best Bucks FTR match that they've had. I had the Dynamite one was my favorite prior to this. This blows it out of the water. How many stars did I give this sumbitch?
5.
No. 4 3/4. So pretty darn close.
Yeah.
And that's because partly I'm including the little angle they did at the end of the match because it popped the crowd so hard.
Yeah.
And it made me question whether the releasing the footage was a bad idea or not. I was so certain it was a terrible move.
Yeah.
So the way this is finished is FTR had the upper hand. Dax is ascending the ladder. What looks like a fan runs in to the ring. These security guys, they are always the ones that, and they're the actual AEW security guys. They're so good. They made it look like this was real, kind of. They get a hold of the fan wearing a Sting mask, wrestle him into the corner, like perfect spots for doing this. Rip the mask off of his face. Fan first. I'm sorry, I should have said this. Fan runs in the ring, hits the ladder. So Dax now is, instead of grabbing the belts like he was just about to do, he's now knocked out of the match altogether. Fan gets wrestled into the corner. Security guys rip the mask off, and it is Jack Perry doing the best shit-eating grin I've ever seen in my life.
It was a hell of a face.
The crowd erupted, which I don't know how they have any energy left. And they actually were hot for the whole main event, too. Yeah. I was tired watching this, like, at my house with you guys. The crowd was, I don't know if it was on, like, meth or something. They just were fired up the entire damn time. It was awesome. Right. But they blow up for this. Then security is like, he's one of ours, right? What do we do? Does he work here? Like, they were confused, as you would be, and wrestle him out. Crowd again going apeshit as the Bucks climb. Then the ladders grab the belts, crown the new champs. As camera cuts back to Jack Perry being escorted away as he throws up what looks like the Elite sign, the sideways. So I'm assuming that's Jack Perry's the newest member of, hot take, the best form of the Elite that's ever existed.
I'm good with that.
I love it.
They need more guys, and
usually the Elite in their history. I love all the dudes that have been in it. I still individually love them all.
Right.
Love all the corniness and everything, but it's been corny. It's been like that's their thing.
This is all rooted
awesome.
in actual. But it's like, again, one of the big gripes I have with the Bucks is like, yeah, they're heels, but I don't think they get heat to the degree that a great heel group or should get heat. I think this will get them great heel
They're
heat.
doing it now. Yeah. You had Dave pointed out while we were watching it that the Bucks' new gear, it's great. And it fits so perfectly. They look like magicians. They look like dime store, like crappy, like close-up magic guys.
Like Burt Wonderstone.
Which made me think of, they're doing David Brent from British Office.
Yeah.
They're both David Brent from the British Office.
Right.
That's the character,
yeah.
and he would totally wear like a magician thing.
Yeah.
So it fits them perfectly. But yeah, this is going to bring actual heat on them now. It's the Elite were always fun. But this is like a story. This is a real, legitimate.
It's also a story everybody knows.
Built-in story. Yeah.
And the appeal with stories everybody knows is what else don't we know?
Yeah.
And that makes me want to watch on Wednesday. Like, is Jack Perry going to be there? What do they have to say about this? They all had the E sign up. They were all doing the 3 fingers at the end. And
Matthew was doing the 3 or E, 3 or E, like back and forth. I love all that bullshit.
Yeah. All's well that ends well, and FTR can go do whatever legal thing they have to go do now, and all the gold is in the Elite, or a lot of gold.
If this goes the way that it looks like it's going to go, and Jack Perry now, like he's not recognizable to me as the same Jack Perry that was boring for forever and left the company to go become the scapegoat in Japan. It's clearly the best thing that's ever happened for him, and he's like pulling it off perfectly. His acting, everything about it is just, it's like pitch perfect. Was the Punk footage a good idea?
I mean, we'll see. I don't
I didn't think there was any chance that was a good move. Like when it happened, it made me feel sick that they were doing it. Like I hated it. I hated the way that it made me feel.
Well, also
I think I was being worked into that because they want me to feel that.
I don't think that's smart.
I don't, dude.
I don't.
We have 2 hours and 40 minutes of podcast that you can listen back to, and there's a lot of proof that they are.
They might be. They might be that smart. So if you want to, so what's the angle? So when they were showing the footage, little things here. Right before they showed the footage, they made a hint like, did FTR have something to do with this or whatever? So like FTR they were Punk's boys. Right, so Perry runs in and he attacks like proxy CM Punks, which is FTR.
Yeah,
right. So I mean, you can.
I mean, I'm just thinking more broad than that. Like Jack Perry doesn't get this heat. That if they never did that, Jack Perry's not getting this heat. I think that was a reminder of, it was Jack Perry, because people forget, you don't think about it or whatever. They show that video. It's Jack Perry front and center the whole time. Yeah. Then he does a Chicago show right after that. And it's like the most heat he's ever had by a million miles.
It's in Chicago, too.
Positive and negative heat, by the way. Just a lava hot crowd. Yeah. And then he comes out to this fucking thing. Yeah. Like, that's not happening if they didn't do that.
Let's give him credit that this was, in hindsight, pretty good move.
Like, I can't believe that. I felt so sure that was a terrible mistake when it happened. I can't believe that I'm now like, shit, was that the right thing to do?
I now that the more you're talking, I think not only was it the right thing to do, it feels, because like I'm just remembering little lines from when the Bucks were teeing up the video.
Yeah.
Because they I was like, why are you talking so much?
Yes.
Like, but like then
everything about it, I
think
thought
about
it was
what
terrible.
they said, and you're like, okay, a month later, does it make sense? It's kind of making sense now.
And he just wouldn't get that. Like that, if they didn't hit the bee's nest, stir up all those negative feelings, negative emotions from us too. Like
the only thing that it relies on Punk doing the interview first,
or that was just their lucky cover that that happened to happen, and they can act like, it was a response to. Who knows? I just assumed it was a response to.
We're never going to find that out. But
I just know Jack Perry wouldn't get in that goddamn lava hot eruption of a reaction without that happening. So,
everything you're saying makes sense.
When AEW's going well, they are smarter than I am. So, like,
well, I mean, if that's I just can't get. It was a good idea regardless. In like I said, several weeks or whenever that was later. Can you? All right, let's just say they did plan this for when they planned it.
Yeah.
And just by sheer fucking lottery luck, Punk does a shoot promo on the company days prior.
Yeah.
How I would go to Vegas and bet my mortgage on everything.
I mean, either way, it seems like it was either it was, oh shit, let's take advantage of that and do this brilliant thing. What it looks like, again, like 2 days ago, I would have told you 100%, like hand on the Bible. I think that was a terrible, stupid, backwards thinking move.
And everybody else did,
and everybody else on Earth did too. But even if, like, whether it was the big plan and Punk happened to do a thing that just super lucky timing wise, or they saw the Punk thing and were like, I have a great idea for how we can capitalize on this and turn one of our guys into a star.
Because they were going to do it anyway. Like he was coming back anyway. Yeah. So, oh man. All right. Yeah, I like that. I like that they're the smartest guys in the room.
It's a good time to be a wrestling fan, man.
Yeah, this is good. Well, dude, fucking, I don't know. It's because now we haven't heard him talk yet, and you're gonna talk on Dynamite. So let's hear him talk, and let's get. I don't know, because I don't like. I've been not quiet about how much I'm not really vibing with their vibing. I'm 40. I'm not.
It's 2024. You could say the word.
I'm not really loving their middle management, not doing as much heely shit as possible stuff. But if they come out on Wednesday and they have completely fucking gone balls to the wall with being huge pricks, and this is how they do it, I'm turned forever.
They just wormed their way into the tag titles, first ever 3-time tag champs.
Right.
Brought their guy back, who's the reason that their biggest enemy on Earth is no longer in the company, at least in kayfabe.
No, all that. Yes, all that. It will almost.
I'm not arguing. I'm just talking it through.
Erase everything that I've been griping about for the last several months. I hope you're right.
Yeah, man.
I hope you're right.
I love being worked.
Between that,
I love being worked.
I mean, between that and the Jericho thing.
Yeah. Jericho thing is more shocking to me, even
what was not shocking?
The main event of the evening.
I can't believe I got this wrong. I can't believe I called fucking.
You weren't the only one, man. It was the tightest odds on the whole show.
Yeah.
And I heard a lot of people saying that they thought they were going to go with Joe because everybody's assuming Will Ospreay is going to win the title at the
stupid
Wembley. I think he's going to win the title at Wembley in 2025.
Next year.
Yeah. You don't put the title right on him right now. You ride this wave.
Yeah.
I think he should be a heel when he wins the title.
Yeah.
I thought on the night, I was like, oh, this is a really good match. It's too bad that probably suffered a little, even though the crowd was super hot for the entire main event.
It was a couple notches down after. The Ospreay thing was it peaked the meter as high as you can go, and nothing. Yeah, it broke the meter a little bit. Right?
And upon rewatch, I agree that it was a step down intensity wise, but it was mostly because it felt like a coronation, which it was just always gonna.
Yeah.
Everybody now it was so on board and have decided that it is time. It is time for Swerve to get his flowers. And they agreed, and it was pretty clear that he was going to win for the whole match. Kind of going into at the very end, they did a nice job doing a little story that worked us, made us think that maybe he's going to choke. They put that out there to make us think, oh, why are they saying choke? Why are they saying choke so much? That doesn't make sense. Are they gonna do it? So it gave you that doubt. So it made the match a little bit better because made you and a lot of other people pick Joe going into the pay-per-view. But it's still, on the night, it felt like a coronation. It was a very good match.
Yeah.
I'll just say right now, I went 3 3/4 stars.
5
so
stars.
Just under a great match.
Yeah.
With a couple of incredible spots. The ending spot that I initially thought was kind of clunky was actually one of the most athletic things you could possibly do. Mm-hmm. Joe had Swerve in the corner. Swerve standing on the top turnbuckle, Joe standing on the middle turnbuckle. Joe is about to try to do a superplex or the Swerve does the thing that I've never seen before where he grabs Joe's mouth and nose and holds it closed. So Joe he can't breathe and he can't really do much with his hands because he's holding on to the rope, so he can't get Swerve's hand off, and he starts to get kind of lightheaded, so his hands drop a little bit, and then Swerve just jumps over Joe's head into the ring, which is like insane athleticism. Gets under him and then does hit a powerbomb, which for a 320-pound man is nuts. Hits, as always, perfect swerve stomp. There was an earlier swerve stomp in this match where Joe, he was no hangman as far as like getting in the right spot. This one looked much, much better.
Yeah.
It was a better way to finish it. Like Swerve won kind of as expected. Crowd still went apeshit for it because it was like time. They did kind of give their hand away a little bit more even, but I think that added to the positive coronation vibes. Stephen Smith, the only match that he refed on the show, and might have been his first pay-per-view. I can't remember seeing him on a pay-per-view in the past. It's their only black ref. So it felt like, oh, they're doing a thing. Yeah. This is a thing.
I mean, he was very vocal. He being Swerve, I want to be the first black world champion. Yeah,
quite a bit. Came out dressed as
Black Panther.
I think he was Killmonger.
He wasn't Killmonger.
I've still said it, and then I've seen it a number of other times.
He's got all the dots all over him.
I mean, Black Panther makes more sense for what he's doing. He's a babyface. Yeah. But I'm not arguing that it was.
I want to argue for a
friend
long
said
time.
It, and then I saw a number of people online just say, "Oh yeah, it was Killmonger." I think maybe people are saying that because Swerve has talked about how his character was in the past. My character is like Killmonger, but that was when he was a heel.
Yeah.
I think the point was I'm not Killmonger anymore. I'm a babyface now. I think you're right.
Swerve brought out the Killmonger gear. He ain't losing. That was. I don't. Hang on.
I mean, doing the Black Panther gear would make more sense because he's a face.
That's fucking.
And it's like a celebration of black excellence. So like that's more Black Panther. But he has a bunch of times, and
I'll tell you
over the last several years, talked about how he wants his character to be like Killmonger.
Everyone on the internet is saying it's not Killmonger.
I think you're right. I think everyone's wrong. I think the point was that I'm no longer Killmonger. I'm Black Panther now.
Yeah, I'm right.
I do. I think right. I think that most of the people are wrong. I was gonna look up the costumes, see what they look like.
I have it up here, but like it's not. Killmonger has a different outfit on.
Yeah,
than Black Panther does.
I know. I think you're right. I think that was the thing because he said.
Unless when Killmonger puts on the cat suit, it looks like this. It was cool gear. Like he came out and
it was
something from that movie.
Yeah, it was cool Black Panther adjacent stuff, and then it was like a great coronation for Swerve.
Yeah.
And like it would have been a coronation regardless of whether the greatest match that's ever happened. And then an incredible ladder match went on before it or not. So like it got, I think, kind of the same amount of crowd heat as it would have either way. And these guys put on a really good show. The only thing I would have done different, I know that Dax just bladed in the match prior. I would have made this match a lot more violent because of the story that they told going in.
Well, he did sign the contract with his blood.
Exactly.
So.
Like that was the story. It was like, and it was Joe, I'm going to try to kill this guy, but he doesn't give that's Swerve's superpower. He does not stop. He's a maniac who will not quit. That's why Joe was scared when Swerve had his belts because no matter what I throw at this guy, he will not stop coming.
They told that story already on this pay-per-view with Hook and Jericho.
Different kind of Hook is a underdog fighting scrappy kind of dude. Swerve is a good guy, but increasingly more and more as he gets closer to the title, unhinged maniac killer guy.
What would Joe have done? 2 muscle busters? Like, what do you do?
That's why I would have probably incorporated some blood.
Yeah.
Because that's cheat code for this match was very violent, even if it wasn't really any more violent than any other match. If there's blood involved, you feel watching it like, oh my God, there was some violence. Do like a post spot where he hits the post.
He should have drank Joe's blood and spat it in the air.
I bet Joe's blood tastes like roasted pig.
Bahama Mamas?
like delicious roasted in the ground in banana leaves. Because I'm thinking Joe's eaten a lot of that in his life.
A lot of marbling going on. In that. Make some nice steaks.
But they worked a great match, just slightly under great, 3 3/4 stars. Very, very, very good.
5-star match.
But it was going to be a coronation, and Swerve deserves it. Hold on to this for a while. You don't need to go, putting the belt immediately on your. I don't know why everyone after all these years still thinks that it's just you need to have the belt immediately on the most popular or best or whatever. Yeah. No, we want to tell stories here. We're going to make it interesting.
This company holds titles for a long time.
And Swerve, his 5-month transitional champ reign, that he had 4 months, but transitional champ reign, they're not going to want to do another short for AEW one, I don't think.
You mean Joe?
Joe, I'm sorry, Joe.
Yeah.
It's getting late.
We're getting up there. We're getting up there.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to want to do another like AEW transitional champ,
right?
Which would be like 4 more months and then Wembley. I don't think that's what they're going to do.
No,
I wouldn't do that either.
No, my best guess it's going to be Swerve and Hangman at Wembley.
That's what. Yeah, I would do that too.
Yeah,
because that's nobody's going to complain about that, and then you can, like I said, do Swerve and Okada or whatever, Swerve and a billion other awesome wrestlers. Ospreay and Okada, Ospreay and a billion other awesome wrestlers that we've talked about, like
Ospreay and
or Ospreay Danielson too. Keep Danielson off TV. He's in a hospital for 4 months. And then his return is right before Wembley.
Yeah.
As this is going to be our big seller for this pay-per-view.
Well, the way this company books, it's going to be Will Ospreay versus Daniel Garcia to headline All In.
Close, Dave. The way this company booked last year. That's what we would have got. This year, it's been nothing but...
It's been pretty perfect.
Perfect.
And it only gets better the more time goes on because the things we just mentioned with
talk it through.
Well, I also, too, they might be... I want to give them all the credit in the world that they did the All-In fight with Punk and Jack Perry. I want to give them all the credit in the world that was purposeful and written out like a goddamn novel, but they also have the benefit of hindsight to read the room. They're very internet savvy, so they will course correct if they have to. That might have been sour grapes that they turned into delicious grapes. Is that the phrase? Can you do that? Can you re-sweeten a grape? I don't know. But notwithstanding, all the storytelling this year has been pretty goddamn good.
Yeah, I think the power's back, Dave. I think the power's back.
I want it back. I want it back.
I know you do. Because we're both wrestling fans and we're both reasonable human beings.
Yeah.
And
it's fun to bitch about bad storytelling for a while. I mean, the entire horror movie genre is bad movies.
Yeah.
But there's
I love horror movies.
Yeah, there's massive entertainment in that, but also too
good movies are more important.
They're more fun. Yeah, they're more fun and they make better sequels.
Yeah.
What a great pay-per-view. 5 stars.
Thanks, guys, for joining us. We'll be back this week for your regularly scheduled AEW and WWE Blue Thunder pods, dropping at their normal time. And then next week, we'll be back to Turnbuckle Time Machine. Enjoy all this beautiful, wonderful, great wrestling we're getting from all corners of the wrestling universe, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Good.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.